The first planet was Saturn, and on down like this. We talk about the fall, but we got to connect this thing. He didn't give them no light. Sophia said, man, he created all of them, and he created the earth, which was the final one. Sophia says, I got to recorrect this mess because this person is creating a whole universe. And the universe that he basically created is the one in our solar system. You see what I'm saying? That's the universe of that. That's why they will show you the physical, even when they deal with science, the physical planets that they show you, they usually show you the ones in our solar system. And they'll talk about other planets being formed, but they'll show you stars out there beyond our solar system. But mainly the ones, the physical planets in our solar system is the ones that Adalabroth created. Now listen. Sophia comes to the 7 planetary archons. She says, look, because they were mad at him. They said, this cat is ruling over us because he didn't give us no light. Although he didn't have the supreme light, he had a little light enough that can create the 7 planets. Because the gods, you can create a damn planet. That's what you can do. You can create a whole universe. So I think because he didn't have the complete light, he couldn't create stars, but he could create planets based on thought. So the other ones was mad. They say, well, damn, he created us, and so since he didn't give us no light, we are subservient under him. So Sophia comes, and she persuades the other ones to get together and persuade Adalabroth to create an earthly man. So they get together and they persuade Adalabroth to create this earthly man. And she said, now this earthly man that you create, he'll be lower than you all, and therefore you will have somebody that can also be up under you, and so therefore you can have somebody that you can be ruler over, and it won't be so bad for you all. All the while she was shitting them, and she was shitting Adalabroth also too. As a result, when they created the physical man, Adalabroth said, get together and say, let us make man. Because they said, no, now basically they say he created the heavens and the earth. Hell, the heavens just mean anything out of the earth, so it just means the 7 planets. So they were talking about Adalabroth the whole time. So when she gets together, she said, he created this man, but the man could not walk upright. It's not talking about the white man. This is the first creation of the physical body. So she gets together and she says, hey, why don't you breathe life into him? And when he breathed the light into him, Adalabroth did, he ended up giving the light that he had, a little bit that he did have, he breathed that into man, and she snooped behind him and gave man the complete original seed that the gods that was above Adalabroth, that was too arrogant to look up and say, I am the God and I shall have no God before me. She gave us the primal seed. And once Adalabroth saw what was going on, he got jealous and he got angry. And as a result, he said he was going to destroy them. Seeing that he couldn't destroy all of them, what he did was he went and tried to seduce Eve and tried to get her light from her. But Eve, they say, went up into the tree and left a shadow behind. The shadow is called Darth. It's in this particular area, which is the black dot, which is Darth. She left a shadow behind. And when she left the shadow behind, he thought he was getting the doggone light and was always attacking the shadow. The shadow is called melanin. And the melanin attracts the original light. So Adalabroth say, if I see anybody with some light, I'm going to try to kill it. And so at this particular time, that the 7 planetary archons, because they had seen what was going on, they found out that the man on earth that was over them also too, they joined back up with Adalabroth. And as a result, they say, hey, we're going to try to kill everything down there that we see light. So she put the shadow or the veil over in the man and the woman to hide the light. And when she hid the light, after she hid the light, what happened was he couldn't see the light and he was killing the physical body, but basically they went on and started becoming gods. So they built Atlantis and Lemuria. And for millions of years, because the earth is older than what you think it is, they were ruling as gods down here for millions of years because they was physical, but they was on a higher dimension so they could do greater things, disappear, all kinds of things. They could do greater things of what a god could do in the physical body. And so he was mad at that particular time, and he ended up coming down to Atlantis in the final stages after millions of years and sinking it. Usually by manipulating priests and manipulating a certain amount of people. Now, also while he was in Atlantis, he said, man, this is the deal. We do not have a direct input with the man, so what we got to do is we got to create a counterfeit spirit. And that's when he went to Yakub or these scientists in Egypt or this priesthood in Atlantis, and they created the white man so the white man could house this evil demiurge or this evil counterfeit spirit that Adalabroth created. Y'all with me? We know this because it's got to be a certain spirit that is in him for him to keep evil up year after year after year after year. There's things that he didn't do in the 1800s that he don't do now, that he did in the 1800s. But if you notice, the racism lasted up to now, and it has become more advanced. You see what I'm saying? That is because it's not that also that he is evil by nature, because he is, but he is evil by nature because the actual energy that houses him is these evil demiurge spirits that is in this counterfeit spirit. And all of this is in this Gnostic stuff. They had to get rid of this shit because this stuff is telling all the stuff. So they had to kill them all off. They had to kill them all off. So then we built up Egypt. And this is where we come into play now. Once they built up Egypt, they came in because the Egyptians had gotten so advanced until they could make alchemy. And this is what it was. In the scriptures, let me get the scriptures for you because I want to deal with some stuff here. Y'all all right? In the scriptures, let me explain this. The Egyptians used to could go ahead and manipulate the force so they can get off the planet and didn't have to come back no more. And what they would do is they could mummify a body, and long as they say that your body can't ascend, not until it's totally decomposed. So you'll be in a catatonic state, you'll be in another dimension, but you'll still be tied to that body until it really decomposed. That's why the people in India would burn the body so the body could reincarnate and come back fast. You see what I'm saying? So they would burn the body. And once the body, they burn it in one day, it can reincarnate, and some of them could come, a priest can come in and snatch a damn body and be back on the earth in a damn hour. You see? And all. So the Egyptians say, but that's a low thing. We don't want to even stick around it because this is the low level that Adalabroth created. This is the jailhouse. So what they would do is they would fool Adalabroth by what they would do is they would embalm the body. And long as that body was still here, they knew how to transcend the body and go into the other realm, and that body would take the place of it, and they can get past and don't have to reincarnate. What happens is this. Adalabroth has us in slavery, and what he does is this. Once you get out of the prison, he tells you never to kill yourself and never to do all this kind of thing here, and life is precious. He tells you that because that's the jailhouse. And because we born in the jailhouse, we just think that this is precious. Eating. When you really look at it, it's really some savage stuff. You're walking around with a tub of shit in you. You know what I'm saying? This is real shit, you know. I don't give a damn how skin you are. You got some shit in you right now. Otherwise, you would never have to shit. They say that the Kabbalah say that the physical body is the most foul thing. You got to eat, and you're basically on an animal level, but what separates you from the animal is you have a spiritual potential in you. You see what I'm saying? So what Adalabroth started doing was coming closer and closer to the earth and putting his grip on the earth till the vibratory rates slowed down. And so the last serious heaven on earth was Egypt. Then he slowed down the vibratory rate, and that fell. Now, this is what he did. We are in, the Gnostic schools is all around the Mediterranean. He did one thing that would be the last thing, in his last major punch that he did. You see, the whole thing about the Romans taking these scripts and writing the first four gospels, which is basically a moral doctrine. And anything moral keeps you from going into the spiritual realm. So what moral means is he creates this fear. So anytime we start talking about chakras, kundalini and stuff, you go, that's some devil shit. You see, it's going on to this day. People think this is satanic worship. You understand what I'm saying? And Satan, the Adalabras call Satan is Osiris, which is actually you. You see, now let me get into this. Let me get into this particular part. Look at this. He pulled one punch around the same time that they was transforming these scriptures. He says that he created this false Messiah. You see, he could not fake the people because the Messiah that supposed to came was supposed to be a black Jew at that particular time, because all the black Jewish community was looking for the Messiah. And the Jews was nothing but the northern Ethiopians that was in Palestine and all over in Ethiopia and all over the Mediterranean, in Egypt, as well as the Egyptians that was looking for the Messiah, as well as all the black people around the world, the Sumerians, the people from Persia, all those was black people now. You see what I'm saying? And they were looking, the Arabians, they were looking for the Mahdi, everybody looking for the Messiah. So now, but they were looking for a Messiah that was going to come in the end times, which is now, because they were masters of prophecy, so they knew it wasn't coming no 2,000 years ago. You see what I'm saying? So, in order to get the people's mind off of looking for a later one or preparing for now, Adalabras had to break it. He had first broke it by, well, he didn't break it yet, but this is what he did. First of all, in order to break it, he did one thing. Now look at this. And it's interesting here, because this has been suppressed up until now. This is in Isis Unveiled, Book 2, page 471, or you can get this book, H.P. Blavatsky on the Gnostics. Madame Blavatsky first claimed that the Gnostics was the precursors of occult movement, and it says, in the program to divide scriptures, learning that the esoteric truths of religion, the Gnostics were as obviously in opposition to so-called Christianity. And it says, now, and what it means is this here, that they were the precursors to all that, which means that they were a precursor means it was the real shit, and these people killed them off and took a fake thing. You with me? Now, this is what they did. The false Messiah shall say, I am Deus, son of Deus, my father sent me here. Now, this is what Blavatsky says. Hence, the belief of some Gnostics. See, this is why they had to kill the Gnostic people off. The Gnostics knew what happened. The Gnostics said that Hibel Awaza, the archangel Gabriel, who was sent to overshadow Mary, was not the archangel Gabriel, but Adalabras, who came in the form of a material body of Jesus, the Christos himself, which is at the modern moment of the baptism of Jordan. What she's saying here is this. She's saying that they had a physical person that walked the earth to make the scriptures historical, telling people that he was the Messiah, and that was none other than Adalabras came down here and came in and materialized a physical body and walked the earth as a physical man, saying he was the Jesus. And meanwhile, the Romans historicalized all the stuff, and they threw off all of the stuff of a Jesus of a Jesus now. Because any fool knows that you read any ancient scripts, what is the doggone purpose for a doggone Christ to come that's supposed to redeem the people since the beginning of Atlantis, that was supposed to come to earth and then get killed? That don't make no damn sense. And lead the people down here to suffer for another 2,000 years. You see what I'm saying? So obviously, that person couldn't have walked the earth that was saying that he was the Christ or whatever kind of thing. It was a dollar broth. You see. Now, they said that, but a dollar broth was the false Messiah and the destroyer of all ancient religions or all ancient mystery schools. So what you got here is, they came in and they wrote a book for this particular person out of the same scriptures. That's why you can go and get the same scriptures. The Greeks talked about a God, Jesus, that was supposed to come in the ancient time, which is in all of us. The Egyptians talked to God, Heru, which is a modified word, which is an earlier word of Jesus. And all around the world, it was talking about one that was supposed to come then. But what this Adalabroth did, he came in and made a physical person to come in and get these people all stirred up in the Holy Land, and then after he so-called died, because he had to die, then they came in because they had to make a martyr, just like the Tupac thing. Anytime you die, they make a martyr. Then he came, then the stage was set for them to come in and take ancient scriptures of the sayings of Jesus, because, see, we would know that this wouldn't be fake, but see, the thing about it is the first 4 books that they talk about that's the sayings of Jesus, the problem is we know it's a lie now, because in 1945, they dug up the original scriptures in 1945. It's just that the damn governments around the world made sure that most people didn't know, and they didn't even translate the first books until 1977. They translated part of it. They translated a great deal of it in in the late 1950s, and the guy Hans Jonas' book came out, The Gnostic Religion. The other ones, as far as the complete scriptures, wasn't translated until 1977. So we have no way of knowing that this particular God is fake. You see what I'm saying? Now, let me go into some things here and try to understand some stuff. So Rome basically took all these ancient texts and historicalized them and made them history. They got it because they was copying a part of the Jews that went bad, taking Egyptian texts and making them historical. You see what I'm saying? Making them historical. A lot of that stuff in the Bible and even in the Torah did not happen. It was metaphysical, and a lot of it, if it was supposed to happen on the earth, it's supposed to happen now. You see what I'm saying? Y'all getting me here? This is very important stuff here, because you got to understand some stuff, because I'm explaining something to you. Let me explain something to you about a Adalabroth. Yeah, you can cut the light on. Let me explain something to you about a Adalabroth. Y'all all right? Because you got to get this. Because what he did was, let me get a glossary here. So now what they do now, they put out the books now, but they parallel it with them. They parallel them with Christian things and saying that they went hand in hand, and one was an extension of the other. That's a lie. That's a lie. Let me explain. Adalabroth is the origins of the name is uncertain. One of the most common names of Gnostic mythology, Adalabroth is a god who rules the material world. Who rules the material world. So, Adalabroth not only was ruling the material world, but how he kept throwing us off. He said, well, listen, in order for me to get these particular gods to keep from going within, I have to create passions. So he created what you call beauty. And in beauty, all the creation of jewelry, all the creation of things, material things that keep you from going. You see, before then, we used to understand that we were gods, and we were just like any other thing on the earth. We could sustain ourselves and go to the highest level of spirituality because we understood that we were gods, or the knowledge of self. So what he did to throw us off, they created all kinds of material things. And so that's why you didn't see as much material things in the ancient world. They didn't need those things because they were on a higher vibration. Now what he did was, after the Adalabras' last thing is when he got the Romans and started killing people, Adalabras knew hell. He said, I got these white people who would control the earth now, because the black people used to control the earth, but they were spiritual beings. But the white people who can control the earth now, I can directly send my evil archons. So each one of these 7 planetary archons, they created other spirits, counterfeit spirits. And those are the ones that's inside of this particular beast. So as a result of them being in this particular beast, they can control the world. And basically, what does he do? The white man controls the world by making the material beautiful. He's 100% materialistic. So as a result, for the last 1,000 years, well, we can't say 1,000 years because Greece and Rome was built by black people and it was all spiritual purposes. But let's say from down Europe on up, so we'll basically say that his height of his beauty, we could say the last 700-800 years. And this is the magnitude of it, America, which is the home of commercialism. The white man's goal is to create beautiful and create a system that would make the earth look like heaven to trap you in it. That's why now we can't think of one thing, getting more riches. You see what I'm saying? Now, I don't cut this off right. Getting more riches. So I don't tell you to not make no money. I just tell you to make money to pay rent, pay lights, pay water, and keep some gas or whatever for transportation so you can get to the job, to pay rent, to pay light or water. But any other shit, you see what I'm saying? You see? So when I beg for money to pay my rent and stuff, you see what I'm saying? Which I don't think I'm going to make it. But anyway, what I'm saying is, we talk about the bare necessities. So he created beauty and passions to control people. You understand what I'm saying? But he's arrogant. He's so arrogant and so now, when he created the white man, in actuality, the white man, you say, well, how does this God function? You just look at the white man and see how the white man functions, and you can understand how this God functions. He's a jealous God. He's a vengeful and a wrath and brimstone, a killer God. You understand what I'm saying? And everything that functions, that holds this society. So when the white man writes on his dollar bill, "In God we trust," he's talking about his God. He actually has a real God. Now, this is this. Now, we got to stop for a minute because I want you to think about what I'm saying here. This God came in and this God created. He took all around the world, he took what is called the esoteric scriptures that's saying that you are gods, and you belong to the host of heavens or the host of stars of heaven, and we are all one. And which scriptures, and he took the same scripture. Now what he would do is he would take the same scriptures, and he would take the same scriptures, and he would take the esoteric scriptures and make them exoteric where you worship him. In the Gnostic scriptures, the real scriptures, they say that this God made a covenant with Abraham. This God, Yahweh. And he made a covenant with Abraham and promised this little group or whatever that he would save them, and everybody else would go to hell or whatever type thing, if they can somehow make the scriptures as if they got to abide by laws, obey laws and all this particular stuff. You understand what I'm saying? To hold us down and hold us down in humanity. So now what I'm trying to say is this too. Then in 1945, they dropped the bomb on Hiroshima and all that. They went into Egypt and they dug up the original scripts. That means you got the scripts of the first 4 Gospels that the Romans and all the Christians are saying that was taught, that all the Christians that were saying that was taught when Jesus walked the earth 2,000 years ago. You see what I'm saying? When Jesus walked the earth 2,000 years ago. And in 1945, they dug up some scriptures in Egypt that talks about the same damn sayings, and it shows that one saying that was supposed to be a person of 2,000 years ago came from an older saying, or the Gnostic scripts that came out of the Hermetic scripts that came out of Egypt. You understand what I'm saying? And the other one was all fake, and they suppressed the damn thing up until 1977. Now, in this book, The Secret Books of the Egyptian Gnostics by Jean Duress, is a real good one. It was 14, it might be 15 now. And it deals with this, and it goes into Adalabroth on page 27 up in here. And not only that, he got 7 archangels that created, and he's got a whole host of angels now. So now, with black people recently, you started having these walk-ins. Now this is the most interesting thing, because I went to Philadelphia 2 weeks ago, or about a month ago, and everywhere I go, if the brother's in the consciousness, they walk into the sister and she starts going crazy. And if the sister's in consciousness, they walk into the brother and he start going crazy. They always start opposing which one if you and your mate didn't meet and is into this thing at the same time. It's very rare that you get two people that's in a household that's in the same thing, although you do have a lot of them. But mainly what you will have is, recently, since 1990 on up, because this knowledge has started coming, you started having these walk-ins. And it's funny, when I went there, the people were so concerned because they was going crazy. And a lot of the things is this. This Adalabroth, who is a jealous God, sits over religiosity. And he is the person that sits over these churches. So now when you go in and start dancing and singing and doing all this kind of stuff here, you open up that, and his evil demiurge is the one that's possessing them, because God damn it, if you ever see some holy sanctified people, anybody in the church, you talking about irrationale. You understand what I'm saying? And I know this is for a fact. Now, I love it and all this, but see, the reason why I know this, I'm doing a case study. I got an aunt, ultimate intellectual, would bear witness to all of this and everything a few years ago. A few years ago, when I came home, I remember when Farrakhan first started back. Remember when he first started up in there? I came home pumping that stuff. They was into it. Oh, man, look at this. I told them, this was before the book, because the book was out of print for a while. Destruction of Black Civilization was out of print in the early 80s, and it came back out in the late 80s. We was trying to get that book, and said, God, she said, I'm going to the Library of Congress and try to Xerox a copy. That's how much she in do the stuff. In 92 or 93, she came and went and somehow got in the church, and all of a sudden, this person is a whole other person. Irrational, don't want to hear nothing, scared, get quiet, just crazy. You see what I'm saying? Just crazy. You see what I'm saying? And this is what they talk about, like you say, the Ruth Montgomery thing talking about strangers among us. There is an energy. And that energy, different energy, is controlled by certain people. This particular God is over Christianity. Well, hell, you know it's got to be a God of confusion. Hell, they got damn 12,000 different cults or sects in one so-called order, one so-called religion alone. God, you know what I'm saying? So now the deal is, and you can tell that he's mostly in Christianity because they say that everybody else's religion is messed up. You see what I'm saying? So now the key is this. Adalabroth, and it's interesting because when they dug up these scriptures and they translate them, they found out that Adalabroth was the God that created the world. So when we're talking about creation of this world, based on the Gnostic scripts, this world was created by an evil demon who is the devil. So your Genesis starts off with God creating this world and creating Adam and Eve. You see what I'm saying? The key is this particular God that sets over these particular religions. In 1945, when they dug up, I got some right here. You can take them back. When they dug up the Gnostic scripts, the white boy not only found the original teachings on where The original teachings go back to Egypt. We know it is all over the world. But the ones that was copied of the first 4 Gospels, he found the original ones, and they was dialectically opposite of everything the first 4 Gospels say. Now, I'm going to get ready to get into the stuff in a few minutes. I'm going to show you what the scriptures say. So, not only did he learn that we found the original Gospels in 1945, we just not learning about this shit. You see what I'm saying? Not only did he learn that, he understood that the God that every black person in America worship, basically the masses of the people is in Christianity, is in fact the devil. And not only that, the devil is on the white man's side. Or let's put it away, the God of Christianity is on the white man's side. I'll explain it. Now, we ain't talking about no, see, you got to understand this, what I'm talking about now. We're so late into the future. This ain't about no occult shit where you go in and a motherfucker come up and tell you a whole bunch of shit that you can't document. See, we got to jump on a nigga's ass now. Why? Because now we're talking about the ancient scriptures. So now I don't want you to be scared as thinking this is a whole, because we got about 500,000 organizations. You understand what I'm saying? Saying things, and when you ask them where you get it from, they can't tell you shit. You understand what I'm saying? You see, but now we actually have the actual documents. Now, he found out that the God that was over Christianity, or the God that is over what you call religiosity, he's basically over organized religion, so which means you got a scripture, then you have a person to organize it, and it don't even become religion at all. It's just a religious ceremony. So half of that is in Islam too. You understand what I'm saying? Where it becomes hypocritical. Half of that is in, you see all the stuff what you're talking about, Judaism and all that now, because it ain't dealing with the esoteric version of it, which is you are God and you raise yourself to the level. So now, he understood that not only that the God of Christianity was the devil, but he found out that God worshiped, that God was on his side. That's why they can go to the same church. How is it, now we want to just listen to this shit for a minute. Now, how is it we can worship the same God, a Baptist church here and a Baptist church here, and we say that God bless us, and yet your life is full of hell? Even when you say you black bourgeoisie, you still is full of hell for the simple fact that you ain't with all your people. Hell, you look on the goddamn TV and the man let you know that I am because we are, and you still in hell too. Your people dying and stuff, and you feeling inferior to the cracker you work with. But how is it that they keep on being blessed over and over and over again? You see what I'm saying? Like I say, these crackers do. I found this out in 1981. We used to ride around, and we see people working, see everybody at lunch, and then after we see all the people at lunch, you know, and then the people go, we see all black and white, then we see all the black people go back to work. And these white people will still be out. Come about it, I don't know how they do it, but crackers do not work. You got a few that work that don't know the game, but the majority of them, they do not work, and they keep money, and they fly, and they got all this wealth. And I can't, you see what I'm saying? So what I'm trying to say is that how is it this wealth can keep on, and not only that, there is no end to our suffering. You understand what I'm saying? That means that the God that you worshiping can't bless you, because the only person can bless you is you, for the simple fact that you have the energy of the Most High, the original God that's in you. And so when you worship and pray, you give the energy to this particular Adala broth in the Gnostic script, and you keep this mug afloat. You see what I'm saying? You keep this mug afloat. Now let's get with some scriptures here to show you. Let's go in and walk into some of this stuff and show you some stuff. So now Jung purchased some of these scriptures in the 1940s. Jung Jung is a great psychologist. Jung got a half of his stuff on the archetypes of the collective unconsciousness and all this stuff. He got the stuff from studying the Gnostic scripts. And this is what Jung says. Listen. Y'all bear with me. The belief as Gnosticism is definable in various ways. Defined most narrowly, it is ancient Christian heresy. Which means heresy means a heretic is a person that is against the order of stuff. So the Christians to call them heretics and kill them off, which means that they had the real stuff and the Christians stole their stuff, and in order to keep the people from knowing the real knowledge, they had to kill them all off. And they went all up and down the Mediterranean and killed them off. It arose out of Christianity in the 2nd century and eventually died out. Well, he was wrong on that. But he redeems himself. He says, Defined more broadly, Gnosticism remains an entirely ancient phenomenon, but is more than a Christian one. So he's saying in actuality it's an entirely ancient phenomenon than a Christian one of the 2nd century. It is also both pre-Christian and non-Christian. You see what I'm saying? Non-Christian. Perhaps the whole ancient world encompasses Christianity rather than is encompassed by it. The Nag Hammadi discovery has established that Gnosticism at the latest is non-Christian, whether or not pre-Christian phenomenon. It's non-Christian. Now, the key is here it is, you got a whole doctrine that is copied, that a man lied and said that they wrote, some damn disciples wrote, after Jesus died and left. Well, in actuality, we now know that Josephus, who is the only historical account of Jesus, was actually a Roman and worked for the Roman government. Now, the Jews say that he was a traitor. But whether he was a traitor or what, the accounts that they got him to write the histories, where he accounts for a historical one, was a Roman scholar. So he wasn't nothing but a plagiarizer of religious artifacts and a liar that this person walked the earth 2,000 years ago. You see what I'm saying? That he walked the earth 2,000 years ago. You see? And so, so they're saying that it is non-Christian. Now, let's deal with some stuff here. It's funny that Pope John Paul just came out last week and said that there's a rise and a real surgence of the Christian heretics called Gnosticism, which he's speaking against it, telling the people you don't need to deal with these because these are heretics of Satan, of Gnosticism. You see what I'm saying? The Pope John Paul said this. Last week he said this particular part. Now look at this. Now let me get this right. I want to show you something. Adalabroth in Ancient Ones, this book that just came out this year is called The Allure of Gnosticism, and they have several authors. The guy who's editing the book is called Robert A. Siegel. And in here they got a whole chapter on Adalabroth. And Adalabroth now, in the ancient time, is mostly controlled, and he's mostly let's put it this way, the most manifestation of Adalabroth now is the ego, which is keeping you to the lower physical level, as well as they say in this book, organized religion. Organized religion, you see, as this particular Adalabroth, known as Set Typhon in Egypt, Ogu in Dogon, and different things. You see what I'm saying? It's organized religion. And it's funny because the Dogon mythology parallels this one perfectly almost, which I'll go into next week when we do the Dogon and some other things and all. Now, so it's also organized religion, and also it is also what you would particularly call the ego. And so this is what we're dealing with here. So, as a result, the Gnostics say that we are what you would call nihilism. We are nihilists. So I used to think that was negative at first. A nihilist is a person that says, fuck the earth, let's destroy this shit. Well, at first I was thinking that was on the concept of the white man destroying the earth. But I understood that the Gnostics was nihilists, and this was another concept. The Gnostics said, while you are on the earth, you should reject. Now we're talking about a duality here. We're talking about, they say you should reject what the earth gives you in all forms and try to cultivate spirituality. Meanwhile, they also talk about it's a double-edged sword because you got to survive while you're in the game. So we're not talking about going out with, like I always say, getting some sandals and a stick and a long robe and just walking around saying, I just deny myself of anything. We're not talking about that. We're talking about mental concepts now. See, this is more advanced now. It's more of a way, because even when you do that, you still on the physical. You just walking around looking like Moses and shit, eating out of trash cans and shit. So we're talking about more of a mental, you understand, and a psychological spiritual manifestation. Whereas that you know that basically everything ain't about nothing. And it frees you up. I always talk about this. That's what the nihilism, what they're talking about here. As well as the apocalypse is not only a goal, it's our damn destiny. Because we understand that the apocalypse for us is the transformation to out of the prison that is created on this physical earth to keep us in bondage. You understand where I'm coming from here? To keep us in bondage. Now, to keep us in bondage. Now, let's deal with some Gnostic scripts. And let's deal with some Gnostic scripts. Now, like I said, one of the best ones you want to get is Bentley Layton's book. This one is the one that came out again in 94. They just translated it out from French, I think, in 94. So this is the one that you want to get. It's $22 and well worth every bit of it. It's called The Gnostic Scriptures, Ancient Wisdom for the New Age. I don't like that word New Age now because, you know, the crackers done messed that all up and all this kind of thing. But it's funny that the Christian now is telling everybody to be against the New Age for the simple fact what you even call New Age is better than that bullshit in the church. You see what I'm saying? So now let's deal with this. Now here's a book I want to read this little part in the back. This is called Gnosis, Ancient Wisdom in the Christian Scriptures by William Kingsland. Now this book was written in the 1800s or the early 1900s, and they just re-released it. It says this book is extraordinary value, and look, this is what it says: unearthing the real Christian message as understood by the gospel writers at the time before the church turned them into an organ of the state. The author demonstrates that the scriptures were not to be taken literally as biographies of life of Jesus Christ, but they also contain certain allegorical symbols and symbol levels of meaning as well. The figure of Christ emerges as so much not one suffering Savior pouring out his blood and the life of redemption of the world, but rather as a guide for essential gnosis. The kingdom of heaven is within. It becomes clear that the teachings of Jesus have more in common with such great world teachers as Buddha, Krishna, Hermes Trismegistus, which is Tahuti, Zoroaster, Osiris, and generally supposed to the most practicing Christian, generally supposed by the most practicing Christians. Unlike any other books, it is subject on one subject of Christian scripture, which often present a superficial view of Christianity. So now, basically, it's talking about cultivating that which is in, and this is called Gnosis, Ancient Wisdom for the Christian Script in the Christian Scriptures by William Kingsland. So they dug up the Gnostic Scriptures in 1945, but they had some Gnostic Scriptures before that, like your Pista Sophia, which is actually the last book of Gnosticism to tell you how to kill a dollar broth, which we'll go into in a few minutes. You see what I'm saying? Because I also did something, I also said a way on how to kill him back in the spring, but even I didn't even understand until I finally got what it was talking about by basically applying things that I had learned 5-6 years ago. So we're going to get into that too, because there's two ways to do this thing. You see what I'm saying? There's two ways to do this. So now, so this is called by William Kingsland is his name. Now let's deal with this Gnostic scriptures here. Let's see. Oh, okay, I got it right here. Hold on. Let me get my paper. Y'all all right? Okay. Let me get my paper. Okay, here we go. The soul in the Gnostic scripture, it talks about the soul escaping from reincarnation. Now what happens? It's in the Gnostic book on this book, page 211. What happens? The soul escaping from reincarnation means this. It means when you're on the planet, if you don't learn the knowledge of self, when you go up, there's certain pathways and gateways that you can get through. And if you don't know a certain knowledge of self in those gateways, a dollar broth will take your soul and it comes back through his tail and spits you back on the earth, and you reincarnate back into a baby, losing all the knowledge that you did have, and subject to be down here another 1,000 damn years. Unfortunate that Gnosticism say the worst thing on the planet is a baby. We're going to get into that in a few minutes. I know this is going all the way against what you have been teaching. But it's not talking about necessarily, it's not talking about that you have done wrong by having a baby. What it means is it's the mentality. If you notice, this particular society loves children. Everything is about the children, but they don't give a damn about adults. Why not care more about adults who have a certain amount of knowledge to comprehend something than the children who don't have a certain amount of knowledge, because you don't teach knowledge on the damn planet and they ain't subject to getting no damn knowledge. And it is because those children can grow up fucked up because the damn adults ain't about shit. So they got it all backwards. It's not the damn for everything to cultivate children as certain programs. It is to cultivate adults. And if you will cultivate adults, they'll be healthy enough to bring up a healthy child. Everything is backwards. See what I'm saying? That's the key. See the concept of what I'm coming from here? You know, the white man hates. Right now you can go to a racist cracker house out in damn South Georgia somewhere, and you could be 2 or 3 years old, and if he ain't so much of a real racist, he'll love a little child. They love little children. Ain't he cute? Because it's an object. See, we look at children as objects. Why do you know what is so cute? Because it's a miniature you, and it's a possession. It's an ego thing. You make you feel good. Oh, I had that. So you look at it as an object. It's not yet human yet. You notice they start hating a black child once it start getting into the teens and start getting a mind of its own. And it hates a black child, or especially a male adult too. But it hates both black and female from the age of puberty until you get about late 60s, and all of a sudden they start liking you again. You see how white people like old black people? Because old black people are somehow, they're not threatened by them. This is an old man, I can whip the motherfucker ass or some kind of stuff like this, you know, and probably he can't outdo me sexually because the nigga's 70. You see what I'm saying? But in actuality, they say that the white man's the sexuality at the age of 30 is about equivalent to a black man at the age of 70, providing if he keep getting it, he can keep on throwing down. You see what I'm saying? If he don't stop getting it. But see, we following the white man. Oh, I'm getting old. So you stop doing it and stuff like that. No, you're supposed to keep on doing it. You see what I'm saying? So what happens is, but if you notice, the white man hates you in the formative years of you being the ultimate of what you can be as far as his competition. Because he's always in competition and he feels inferior to you because he's an inferior God. Remember now, the white man is a prototype of this jealous God, or Dalabra, who say, I am a jealous God and I shall have no God before me. Which the Gnostic scriptures say that is the devil. So they don't like you during the ages of teenage on into you get old again. Right about in retirement. It's like a motherfucker don't give you your money until your ass is of no more use to his ass. And he says, okay, retire your ass. And then, you know, things are a little easy for your ass now. You get a little check or something, some damn cheese or something. But a motherfucker like me can't get shit. And I'm the one that mostly needs the damn stuff. You see what I'm saying? So we talking about a whole backwards culture. Whereas, you know, in the ancient times and stuff, the adult, that was the man. And that was the man, and you see what I'm saying? And was revered. You see what I'm saying? That's the kind of thing like that. That's why you don't see a lot of, you go, and see, you think this is some crazy stuff. You go back to all ancient cultures, you don't see no children almost at all, other than the Christ baby. You don't see, in mythology, you don't ever see no children. You understand what I'm saying? Because the child is a dead person until it regains a certain amount of things. But then again, on the other hand, we are children now too, because we don't have knowledge. Not you. You're the only thing, right now, the people with knowledge, especially black people. White people got more knowledge than us, but white people don't have the black dot. So therefore, they're mutants anyway, so it don't make a difference. But do you know that the only light that is alive on the planet right now is black people with knowledge? That means that they're looking down on the planet and they see total darkness. They see white people which has knowledge, but they don't have no light. They see black people, the masses of them, who have light, but their light is not cut on because they don't have no knowledge. Then they got a group of people who have knowledge. You understand what I'm saying? Even if it's a little bit of knowledge, it makes your light shine even more. You see what I'm saying? So therefore, the only thing that's living on the planet right now is brothers and sisters that's in some form of consciousness. You see what I'm saying? I don't give a damn if you Nation of Islam, Noble Drew Ali, the Moors, or whatever you are. Anything contrary to what you would call the regular way of life on the planet. Some form of knowledge. So it's not just us, it's anybody who has a certain amount of knowledge, but that still constitutes from less than 1% of all the people in the world. Because the other people who got the knowledge don't have the light. So the only ones that have the light and have the knowledge, that's why I told you before that you are more superior than what you think you are, because you have been privy to coming to this time in the 1990s when the hell go down, and you got knowledge because you are the only living specimens on the whole damn planet. Now, all of a sudden, that should basically tell all your pathologies, your complex, you know what I'm saying, and all your little shortcomings that make you have an ego or make you feel inferior, or make you feel worthless, or make you get jealous of another damn person. You out here jealous of a damn person because he got more money, but this is a dead person is a goddamn idiot. And sometimes because they got the money, it traps them to the point that they can never receive true knowledge for the simple fact that they'll think they're going to lose every damn thing when they get too far in the knowledge and they tell them that, hey man, you ain't all that because you got a goddamn Mercedes that the white man made in Germany, or goddamn beast. So, see, the concept on what we're saying is we are at a standstill is because, okay, now, this is what I'm saying. Listen. True knowledge is supposed to make you humble. Right? And don't supposed to make you arrogant. That's why fake knowledge, which is a byproduct of knowledge that they teach in university systems, make everybody arrogant. That's because it's not true wisdom. Because it's a byproduct knowledge, it's just like that God, just a half a God, so therefore it makes you arrogant. You see what I'm saying? But true knowledge is supposed to make you humble. But now, on the other hand, there's a difference than being humble and being inferior and not believing in yourself that you are God's. So now we got another dichotomy. We get in a certain amount of things and we humble ourselves, but we humble ourselves based on physical proportions. But we do not think of ourselves on a higher level as far as spiritual proportions, because we still think of a God that is over us and we are not worthy of being the same magnitude of the first creator. Now this is the shit that you really got to grasp, because I found out that because I get this stuff. I've been getting this stuff for a while, but somehow I don't get the stuff for the simple fact that I have to constantly tell myself, and recently in the last 2 months, I constantly have to tell myself this. And what the Gnostic script says is this. Once you failed, the Gnostics, Sophia, took a seed. It is the seed of the original creator of the heavens that's the most superior in the universe. She broke the seed into many pieces. And those particular pieces, that seed is in you. So that means that the original God that created the earth in the beginning, you are that God. You see the key? So now, this is beyond. Do you understand the metaphysical concept? Because that's what the scripture is saying. Don't, listen. Didn't I read the Holy Kabbalah, Waite's Holy Kabbalah? In there they say that the Christ who is to come is in all of us, and it is the spirit of the Messiah, right? But don't they teach you, even in Christianity, that they teach you that that Messiah that came, or who is supposed to come in the end, was here in the beginning. He is the original creator of things. You understand what I'm saying? That's why when we show you the Kabbalah, you see, it might not sound interesting to you right now, but believe me. Believe me, see, the whole thing is not to give a good pumped up lecture if you don't understand. So, okay, something might sound redundant, but I find out that we listen, but we don't listen. You understand what I'm saying? We listen, but we don't listen. And this ain't no ego shit like I got all the knowledge and I'm teaching you. I have to wrestle with this shit every day myself. I ask the mate, well, what about, and sometimes you be like, well, damn, I wonder if this shit is even real. But that's a part of the rest. So I'm in utter confusion also too. And I'm going to show you something in a few minutes. So this is not no ego shit like I got some shit I'm telling y'all, because there is no such thing as knowledge of one person that's got a certain amount of knowledge and the knowledge synonymous to him. This shit is universal. You understand what I'm saying? And I just have to beat myself up. And the reason why I can come up with it and shit is because basically I don't work. I suffer for it because I don't have absolutely no money whatsoever, and goddamn the bills is coming. But you know what? You know what? Remind me, because a sister called today and she got it from a Vodun priest on a hellified ritual to get some goddamn money. So I know that we ain't talking about, huh? Okay, we're gonna do it, but I don't wanna get off the spiritual thing. I'm gonna drop it, but don't get out of here without getting this thing. But now remember now, it's gonna open. But, you know, you get these things out, some people say I did it and it didn't happen. But you got to be true to yourself. You're supposed to resort to this for supplement income that can help you as far as just keeping some shit on. Some money that can keep you, you know what I'm saying? Because you just, take for instance, you just need money because the cracker will stop you and give you a $40 damn ticket in a fucking man. You know, all kind of shit that keep you in slavery. You know, sometimes you can be out of the room and say, I got the shit going, and the cracker will stop you, and a damn ticket costs $40, $50, $80. You see, so he got all kinds of stuff. Then they got all kinds of taxes and rules to keep you fucked up. You see what I'm saying? So we're not talking about a nigga that's trying to get like Michael Jordan so we can fill our ego with all these trinkets. We're just talking about mere survival. You understand what I'm saying? Mere survival. And I'm telling you, he got all kind of laws and stuff to keep you down, because that's an energy that they're using to make sure that your ass don't get to no spiritual shit. So we're going to give you this particular ritual in a few minutes. Okay, in a few minutes. Now look at this. Now, let me finish this. So the original God in the beginning, so now also too, now I got to do like the brothers in the Afrocentric community used to do, which is a good concept. Any of y'all motherfuckers in your damn 20s, not only do you unask the seats for the damn sisters, but you unask the seat for the elders too. So the brother standing out here, I've been seeing the brother been in this shit for a while, so one of y'all motherfuckers need to unask the seat for the goddamn elder. You see what I'm saying? Not you, brother, because you paid for that seat. No, come on in, brother. You know, come on in and have a seat, man. Just have a seat. That's the, you know, we got to, fair is fair. You know what I'm saying? You see what I'm saying? You know, and I know, because like I say, you got children, and you know, if you had any children, you know, them motherfuckers don't disappear at no 18. Them motherfuckers was a lifetime of trouble. So he earned that right too. And like I said too, you know what I'm saying? So we do that also for what you call it. And I'm not saying you are elder as far as a old, but you still younger than the damn warrior out here. He can't, you know what I'm saying? You know, because don't expect me to fight with this big gut. Send that nigga there. You know, give me the damn Uzi. Now, you see, now the deal is this. Now the deal is the original God that they're talking about is supposed to come, the one that was in the beginning, that we talk about, Kever, the premium mobile, which is the first light of creation. It's like an hourglass. It comes all the way down here to the kingdom. The kingdom is Malkuth, the fallen daughter that will be redeemed. Malkuth is in Kever. Kever is in Malkuth. The premium. So the first original creator is broken up, and it comes down, and you catch it. So that means not only that you are God, there is no God above you. Now, see, let's think a minute. That means the concept that we talk about is based on the Gnostic scriptures, based on esoteric virgins, and I have studied all of them enough to know. Based on the concept of what they're talking about. Imagine the most remote part of heaven that you think is powerful. You understand what I'm saying? That most remote part of heaven that you think is powerful has now come down to hear, and that rests within you. There is no God above you. You understand what I'm saying? There is no God above you. You see? So that's the key. So now, it says the soul that escapes reincarnation is one that knows the knowledge of self-knowledge, which means the knowledge that you God, and so therefore you won't have to come back down to the earth realm again. Now let's go on. Let's see some things. Let's see some things here that we're going to deal with here. Reason why they had to go ahead and they had to destroy these texts. Let's deal with some of the stuff right out of the text right now. So we're going to go to 113, and it says, okay, homosexual practices. These males and this homosexual they're talking about here is not talking about an individual black person that so happens to be homosexual. They're not talking about that. They're not talking about the individual insofar that you are not even worth writing on. They are talking about a race of people. Whenever they deal with these commandments and stuff, they're talking about races other than the Gnostic race. Now, first of all, let me tell you what the Gnostic race is. Let's deal with this. The Gnostic race. The Gnostic race is a seed of the Holy Spirit that is hidden. And it says that is hidden. It says evil thought, inert, has not been removed from its midst, and the members of it are enslaved to wickedness. So there's a seed. Where's the seed? Who know the seed? What's the seed? Melanin, black dot. You all heard that before. So the seed, listen, but it's not removed from wickedness, the members of this it. But the seed is revealed in the perfect light and will stream forth upon each person, that's us. And like all being, it will be anointed. So there you have it. What is Christ? The anointed one. The seed that they're talking about, they didn't say one damn person. The Gnostic scripts say it will stem forth in each person. Then the slaves will be free and the captives will be ransomed. They're going to ransom off these, you're going to ransom off these mugs. Every planet that may Father in the heavens has not planted will be rooted up, whatever that means, which means everything is coming together what it means. Those who are separated will join and will become full. That means all of the particular seeds will come back together. This seed is called the Gnostic seed of the Gnostic race of Set. Now this is not Set Typhon, this is Sut, the ancient black one, the original black one. So now, when they talk about homosexual practices, they're not talking about homosexual practices in here as the same homosexual of just individuals and a moralism. This ain't got nothing to do with black people whatsoever. Black people are fools all around the planet. So therefore, we would never make it if it was based on a fire and brimstone God that's going to chastise us. Yeah.
Which book did you just read that from?
That's this is the Bentley Layton's book, and I'll tell you, I'll give you the name of the seed. I'll give you the page number of the seed in a few minutes. We're gonna go through some scriptures right here. Now, homosexual practices. Those males among them are called Levites, and do not have sexual intercourse with families. Excuse me. I'm reading too fast. Do not have sexual intercourse with females, but they have intercourse with one and another. One and another. They, of course, are the ones who are preferred and honored among them. Who is honored in the world right now? It sure ain't the black man. It's talking about the white man. But they scorn those who practice religious behavior and purity. You see, purity. And they look down on this labor in vain. Now, what they're talking about here, they're talking about a homosexual race or asexual race. Even a man hater, which is sexism, is a part of homosexuality. You see what I'm saying? They're talking about a race that is, they're talking about the white race. They're not talking about a homosexual individual, because we have taken on everything as the devil. You see, they're talking about a whole race. Now you find out who the Levites were. Were the Levites white or black? Anybody know? White? Well, they talking about a whole race. You see, why you going to, see, the book is clear. Why you going to call a whole race homosexual when it could just be individuals? If not, they're even saying even the most masculine white man has homosexual tendencies. And you know this based on the woman, because the woman is more of a victim. You'd never see a white woman that won't do homosexual relationships in sex flicks or either in sexual flicks, period. All of them are bisexual. You see what I'm saying? You see, that's why I told you before, that's the reason. See, it's a reason why Yale University put out the history of bisexuality as well, other than the history of homosexuality. Because bisexuality, based on Yale University, is a whole race of people. Homosexual could just be ones of those just choose to be just total opposite. But so you only have a minority of homosexuals in the white race, but the whole white race is bisexual. That's the mystery. That's why Yale University put it out in 1992. Homosexuality in the ancient world. Most Greeks was gay. They call them asexual. Yeah. Roman and all of that type thing, which was the first origins of the first white people after they conquered the original black Greeks and stuff, because all that land was first black at first. But the original ones, of the historical Greeks, of the white people that was the killers, was great.
And the same myth exists on the validation they get is to go to bed with a black woman and make them a man.
Yeah, that's true too. You ain't, yeah. That's true too. Up until this day. You see what I'm saying? Up until this day. So let me show you some other scriptures here. Now see, these scriptures here, they, in so much as the Bible might give you one or two little verses, and they'll have 5,000 books off of one little thing that said, these scriptures are whole and complete. They go complete. You see, they're not all this, and you know, it's not all this gospel type bull, which is all saturated and made this way. These are complete scriptures. These are complete scriptures. Now look at this. Page 273, 293 in the book. Gnostic scriptures. Let me get this right. I want to show you this. 293. It says that the Savior's body was apparent, not material. You see what I'm saying? For he took the first fruits, and they say that those who were saved from a Hemmitt. When you see the word a Hemmitt, that's another word for the melanin at its most purest form, when it is going back to the spiritual level. In Kabbalah it's Shekinah. In Egypt it's Shechem. You see them? It's Shechem, but it's Shekinah. It's a Hemmitt here, which is a Hemmitt means spiritual element. So when you see a Hemmitt, it also means melanin. Anytime you see the word craftsman in here, the craftsman in here is talking about the devil, the one who created the physical race. The craftsman says he puts on the animated anointed Christ to the providential arrogance of events. He became enveloped in a body and had animated the essence, but was constructed in the sum affinity to be the way as viable and touchable. So you got to really study these, because this is the scripture right here that said that this particular craftsman, which is the devil, took on a physical body. So I read you Blavatsky's book on Gnosticism that was compiled by J.H. Sternberg, where they said that Jesus took on a physical body was actually a Adalabra. In the Gnostic scriptures, they talk about this same Adalabra taking on that, but basically they says the material essence is not capable of receiving salvation. So the Christ was never in the physical based on the Gnostic scripts. It was never in the physical whatsoever. You see what I'm saying? Now, whatsoever. It says that the heavenly Savior descends in the earthly Jesus. This is what the mystery of Jesus is. You got two words. You got Jesus and you got Christ. Jesus, son of Joseph, or in Hebrew they say Messiah, son of Joseph, Messiah, son of David. Two different things that they put together, and it's metaphysical. The Messiah, son of Joseph, is talking about the incarnated body, which is all of us, son of a human being. The Messiah, son of David, is the Star of David, which is two inverted pyramids, which is the black dot, which is also inside of Jesus. So Jesus in the mystical scripture means the physical body. And the Christ incarnates or descends into the physical body. So what the doggone Romans did is they said that Jesus was a physical man and they called him Jesus the Christ. But in actuality, in Gnostic scripts, which was a Jesus word was before the Jesus that they made claim to later on, Jesus is you or Jesus, which is Jesus in Jesus. Zeus is the father of gods. In Egypt, he's Osiris. You are the Osiris. You are the Osiris, the physical body that lays dead. You see what I'm saying? So the Jesus that they're talking about is you. Your physical body is Jesus. The Christ, which is anointed one, which is the seed, which is the black dot. So it depends on how you read this particular. It depends on how you read these particular scriptures to try to understand what's going on. The craftsman is a Adalabroth. He said he is the craftsman. He says will bring about the providential arrangements of events into the world until the appropriate time, especially because he cares for his church. What church is he talking about? He's got a church, the Christian church. And his knowledge of that will reward them who awaits him, mainly occupying the place of the mother. So it means that this Adalabroth, who is the craftsman of this, will bring on events to throw his particular Christians off because he wants to occupy the role of the mother, because the mother is the great mother Sophia that say, I will redeem my people in the end and clear up this mistake that went on in the future. That went on in the future. Now, which is the actual the actual Adalabroth. Now, this is interesting because you will never see this in the Bible. This is one of the most beautiful things in the world. I'm going to explain this. It's going to be on page 298 in this book, and let's look what it says here. It says that there are 3 species of humans on the earth. The fact that there are 3 species of humans, it says that they teach, and it says disclosed as followers. The material species is disclosed when man said there will follow a sign. Now this is what it means. It says there's 3 species of human, and the 3 species of human is one human is made of the one human, which is the original human, which is us, is made of dust, spirit, and soul. Now, see, now we ain't talking about no racist shit. We're talking about what the original scriptures say, that now you can say, oh, Bobby been talking about these white people and all of this kind of shit here. You got to deal with what the scriptures say. Now, don't get mad, because these are the same scriptures that they copied the first 4 gospels. In here, the first human being, the original one, is made of dust, which means the physical body, because it's made of the elements that he created the world with. Dust, spirit, and soul. So black people is dead. They operate from the spirit. Their soul is not awakened yet, because the soul is the actual God that is in you, that is lying dormant. The reason why you are woke at this particular time and you are interested in this knowledge to sit through this is because the God that's in you is thirsting to remember. You are trying to remember what you were in previous eons. That's the only reason why you are here. And because your light is on you, the only ones that's on the planet right now. Now remember that now. Can you fathom that you walk around on a planet that you're the only ones alive? You understand what I'm saying? You're the only ones alive. And it is up to you to cultivate your soul, because that's the only thing that's going to give you nourishment, not the shit that's made by dead people. You see what I'm saying? So one is made of soul, dust, spirit, and soul. The other one is made of dust and spirit. One is made of dust and spirit. And the other one is made of dust. Now, and they didn't say no animals. They say human beings. Now, you got to deal with that. Now, look at this. The one made of dust, apparently you know who the hell that is. We don't even need to even go into that. Then you have one that's made of dust and spirit, which means that you are dealing with something that would be a miscegenation of the white races amalgamating a certain group of black people till you would get what you would have in population of the world, like your Arabs. You see what I'm saying? But why the white people are created. That's a different thing now. We've proven that over and over again. The white people are created. You see, in here they're talking about the dust, so they're talking about something like your Arab, not misconstruing with the black Arab. So they're talking about something like your Arab, and they're talking about something like a Mexican. You got white Mexicans, then you have semi-white Mexicans. That would be the ones that would be made of spirit and dust. And then you would have a black Mexican, which would be the descendants of the Mayans, or what you call it like that, which is very few left because they killed them all off. But your black Mexicans also, well, the Mexican is nothing but an Indian. So basically they have killed off most of the black Indians in America. Like I told you at the first beginning of the lecture, how is it that all of the pictures that they show, Geronimo, Sitting Bull and them, is blacker than us? But now, every time they show you a doggone Native American, he's a white man with a fucking Tonto wig on, like that cracker that used to be on Daniel Boone. That nigga spent they gave that wig that he wore cost $10,000 for that wig to get a good one. Back in the time, that cracker from Daniel Boone, a white man in a damn wig, whatever that cracker name was. You see what I'm saying? So there's 3 species of human that they're talking about here. 3 species of human that they're talking about and all. And so these are the stuff in the spirits. It says, okay, who is the name of Jesus Christ? 332. Let's look at this. 332. And maybe this, you know, when I give out these things about the stuff on money, it usually works for the people. Just don't work for me for some reason. But it usually works for mainly everything. It usually works for everybody else and stuff like that. But look, the name of Jesus Christ. Jesus is a private name. Christ is the anointed. The public name, therefore, Jesus does not exist as a word in any language, but rather the name in which is called is Jesus. But the word Christ is Syriac, or Messus is the Greek, Christos is probably all others have, according to the particular language of each, is the public name and the private name. So they're saying that the reason why Jesus does not exist as a name because it's not supposed to be a name. It's supposed to be that of a body, of an organ or a vessel. That's the mission between Jesus Christ. And so what they did is they came in and made this person's name Jesus Christ, and they messed it all up. You see what I'm saying? All are in Christ. The anointed Christ is within him, whether human being, angel, or mystery, and the Father. It says, Christ is each within him, whether human being, angel, or Father. So the reason why they had to kill these Gnostics off, because these Gnostics were saying that that's some bull jive. Y'all talking about this particular person over here. And so they killed these particular people off. Now, resurrection must precede death. So here they're saying that we got to be resurrected before we die. Those who say that the Lord first died and rose are mistaken. For the first arose, then died. And if he does not first get resurrection, he will not die as he lives, but that person would. So what they mean here is, I think it's got something to do with us right now. You have actually been resurrected. Now, whether you backslide or whatever, that's just a part of your process of battling this physical world out here. But for the mere fact that you were sitting up here in here and getting down with this knowledge and not thinking I'm going to hell and not scared and not worrying about how much I done cursed and shit like that and all this kind of thing here, and not really worrying about the superficial things and basically just thirsting out the knowledge, you are already resurrected. The next thing for you to do too is to ascend. You see what I'm saying? So you have already been resurrected and all. Now look at this. The precious is hidden in worthless. No one should hide a precious element object within an expensive thing. Yet often, sometimes, has kept vast sums of something in something that is worth a penny. Such is the case of the soul. The precious thing, and it is come to reside in a lowly body. So they're saying this, that they wouldn't put nothing precious in something that's worth nothing. They will put it in something that ain't worth nothing. So they're saying that your physical bodies ain't worth nothing. Now, why do they say this? Why do they talk hard on the physical body? Because in here, they're going to talk about the fool. And the fool in the Gnostic scripture is the white man. Why? Because they understand that what they're talking about is us as far as because we're dead people. So they're talking about a people that their origins of that of idiocy. So in here they'll tell you that the fool is, only a fool would fall in love with the physical body. They say that Christ said that you must be acquainted with self. They say, what is self? They say self is that which is invisible and inside of you. It's the only thing that you're supposed to be trying to unravel the mysteries. They say the fool is intrigued with that particular thing that he sees. So they'll talk about the fool in here, and the fool is surely the origin of the fool, because they're not talking about conditions. Because see, they're talking about purity of original soul. So they don't get into what your conditions are. We are all fools in the condition, but that's not by our choice. You understand? But they're talking about a fool. They're talking about one that whatever he does, and no matter how much knowledge he learns, he's still going to be a fool. Because the only thing he has is the physical body. Because he's made of dust. And that's it. So they're not talking about you, because in here they said that the person that we're not talking about is the sacred seed of Set, or Soot. The sacred seed of Soot will be redeemed in the end no matter what. He has to go through suffering, he has to go through trouble, but he will be redeemed in the end. Never say anything about that particular sacred seed. Since you have the seed, they say the seed is hidden within you. And in so much as the outside, they say you do not live at all. You never existed as far as your physical life, and you had a house on you had a house on Fair Street, and you did this kind of shit here, and you went to college, and your grandmama did that shit. That don't exist. You see what I'm saying? Now, all of a sudden, I respect my family, but I don't treat my family in the same way as stuff is so much important to me. You know what I'm saying? And this is not being negative. It's understanding, and in actuality, none of our traditions never existed. The only thing existed is that's a house that gives activity to house the original God which is in me while it is asleep. But now since it's awakened, none of that shit don't make no difference no more. All the pride, all the traditions, all my goddamn memories, it don't mean nothing but me acting like a damn fool. You understand what I'm saying? And all this kind of stuff here, and all the good times and all this kind of stuff. So this is what they're talking about here. That's what the seed is talking about as far as the revelation of the seed and all. So they're saying it is worthless for the simple doggone fact that the physical body is something, they wouldn't hide nothing, because they had to hide the spiritual seed from a dollar block, because he said he was going to kill all of you. And then he sent his evil spawns down here. But the key to that is the seed that is in you, because they say he's very arrogant to this day. He don't think, looking at you physically, and you are loading him because you're in a physical body and you trapped, he don't think that you're going to rise up over him. But they said Sophia hid the seed in him and secretly hid it to hide it from a dollar block because he was too arrogant. So you're going to change the tape? Is it ready? By way of Coney Island, New York, by way of Jamaica. And so she's now here in the crystal city of the Stone Mountain city of Atlanta, by way of spiritual voyage. And so once we resume, she's going to give a channel of what Tupac came and said. with what Tupac came and said. So you got you back? It's back on. And so I tell you what. Yeah.
I just wanted them to know that when Tupac was first shot, right? Shakur came like the next day, so I asked her to tune into him. And she gave me all this information that was like a day ahead of all of his medical stuff. She told me when he was dying, what was happening around the bed, and then later, when I confirmed, because I know his family, it was just like she said. Before the video came out, she said he wanted to have on this white suit, the whole nine, and the video come out, he got the white suit, and I'm like,
yeah.
whoa.
Well, yeah, we can start back. Well, this one thing I can say since we started back, it's not by mistake. Now, one thing about him, in spite of all the stuff, he did know he was going to die, and I'm going to give him that. He did know he was going to die because the new CD that's coming out in 2 weeks has him nailed to the cross dead. You know what I'm saying?
The new video does too.
Okay.
About, I'm not mad at
In all his songs, he talks about
Yeah, right. And I mean that new video with the white suit like you're saying and all, you know, the man literally knew he was going to die. So that is profound in that particular sense. And not only that, too, they've been having a Tupac marathon on the on BET all this last week. And I've been doggone if all his videos from the last 3 years, he was constantly talking about dying. So if his coming was just for that alone, he was constantly talking about dying. You know, they showed some of these back videos like 93, he was talking about dying. You see, so maybe that was the reason why he raised a little hell while he was here.
Only God can judge me now.
Yep. So that's it. So now, what we're going to do is Sister Shakira is going to read her. How you doing, sister? She's going to read her channel from Tupac Shakur. Okay, you go ahead. I got this. You thinking to pick up that far? Yeah.
Oh, now, Smith,
Yeah. Okay. Well, I just sit right here. This'll work. And we're gonna read this here, and she'll get it. Yeah.
Okay. This was yesterday, 10 p.m. This is my warmest greetings to all. First, I was very surprised at the impact my death had on the nation, especially young people. Wipe your tears and don't be sad because I'm peaceful and happy. In fact, I'm very, very happy. I extend my deepest love to all the people. I feel your love vibration, accept your prayers. Keep sending your prayers. I most definitely appreciate them. To all my loved ones, my family, my girl, kid, and the whole crew, all my homies in the hood, I watch over all of y'all. Ma, I'm there with you, especially at nights. You can sell the crib in LA and keep what you think you should. Tell my sister to keep on being there for moms and don't fall to pieces every time someone mentions my name. I need for you to be strong. Hey, Jazz, the Jasmine guy. How's my honey doing? Girl, I see you taking charge. I come and check you out sometimes, and I can't help but laugh because you're bugging when they try to diss me. I can't see that you don't like that. Kid, you're still my #1 girl next to my mom's. Dry your tears, baby. I know you miss me, and you look at my pictures inside, but I'm right there with you. Don't be afraid. I know you're scared of who you should talk to at this time. However, the truth will come to light. Someone new will be assigned to the case, and you should cooperate with him because he's on. Say hi to your mother and your sister. I still love them. What's Q up to? Tell Mr. Jones to take it easy and don't work too hard. You should try to get some rest. People, it's important for y'all to stop killing and fighting each other. Release all the jealousy and anger because it's not worth losing your life over petty stuff. Believe me, people, your lives are so precious. Treasure every waking moment. Brothers, tell your girls you love her and lose all their pride. Stop fronting in front of your homeboys and keep it real, y'all. All that boasting don't mean nothing. Y'all supposed to be helping each other out. Make time for your family. Stop hanging in the street so much and chill in the house sometimes. Spend time with your girl and get to know one another instead of trying to get your rocks off and being a player all the time. Wake up, crew. My departure from the physical world should be a wake-up call for all of y'all. Real soldiers don't give up. They keep on fighting to the end. Let not my death be in vain. Let my words and the verses in my song reign, reminding and enlightening you, because I came in the world with a struggle and left with a struggle. And although they shot up my body and think that I'm dead, my spirit lives on and on and on. Yes, I'm alive in the spirit and my soul rejoices. Keeping it real, y'all. Peace and love. Now, this came today. What's up, crew? I'm touched by the outpour of affections and love. I'm glad that y'all keep jamming to my rhymes and verses because I was rapping, hoping that y'all get the message. I was a man born with a mission. I was a soldier with a quest, and now that I've shed my earthly skin, I'm going to keep on fighting. Too much injustices have been committed against me and my people. It would be cool if I said put the Glocks down and stop gang banging, but let's examine the reasons why we do what we do. Why are my people still enslaved by this crooked and satanic system? Why are my homies and fellow comrades getting locked up? Who put the Glocks in our hands in the first place? Who swarm and infest our neighborhoods with drugs? They got us on the civilians, watching our every moves, imprison us in projects, clocking our every moves. Don't the babies and children, don't they deserve to be free? If this is our land, the land of the free and the brave, then why aren't we free as we want to be? And why we got to be scared to be brave because strange assassins got their dog on our asses? We have suffered enough, been brutalized enough, been raped enough, been starved enough, and been pimped enough. The war is on, enough said. We are those lying motherfuckers who call themselves politicians, the elected officials who got elected in office, black like me, yet they refuse to come near my ass while I was locked up on trumped-up charges. Where was the concern when I got senselessly gunned down and the cold-ass motherfuckers drive a white Cadillac and got away? All of a sudden, nobody's talking. Nobody saw nothing. Everybody's trying to protect their asses. The people know who I'm talking about. This does not involve my family. I see the real bullshitters and the real con artists. I'm watching y'all. Nobody can take the pain away that was inflicted on my family and real friends as they watch me bleeding profusely, lying helplessly in that hospital bed. No words can bring me back physically, but still I live on. I'm immortal, and I walk with the ancestors. I walk with Brother Malcolm, Brother Marvin, Brother Newton, and I finally sat down and talked with Red. He's still telling jokes. I also met some of my homies who arrived before I did, and we have plenty to talk about. To everyone, I say don't be afraid of death. Don't just sit there and take my words and talk about them. What are you doing to help the black community? Y'all are talking, but where is the action? Stick together, people. There's too much empty spaces between y'all. Stop looking down on those bums on the street. Feed and shelter the poor and be kind-hearted. The government aren't looking out for us, so we got to look out for each other. We got to clean up our own mess. Check up on the elderly. Make sure they ate and run some errands for them. They get too neglected too often. Visit the sick in the hospitals and don't turn your back on the brothers in the jail cells. They represent a part of you that's locked up. When they kill me, they kill a part of you too. We're all part of the whole. When I hurt, you hurt, and when you are hurt, I am definitely hurt. Think about it. Good love, my people, and don't give up hope. Celebrate life in your living and enjoying good on all others. All power to the people from Brother Huey. One love from Brother Marzael. That's a deep brother. Brother Malcolm says he's checking out Minister Farrakhan and laughs. Free the land, y'all. Stop being slaves and become masters again. Keep your heads up. I'm out. Brother Abdul Shakur.
Now, it's interesting that some people is new to this as far as the channel. That don't sound like something that can be true, that you can get in contact with a person that's passed from the physical body. But once you start living this and stuff, this is actually so commonplace until now. Obviously, we're dealing with a spiritual element that the majority of people can't even think can be done. You see what I'm saying? And basically reading this to the masses of the people and all, they would never ever believe this type of thing and all. So it's funny that we could even get this particular spiritual channels that would actually come down and stuff. And basically that's letting you know that, man, for the mere fact that for you to witness a person's death, what, about 2-3 weeks ago now? 2 weeks ago, and then all of a sudden, you see what I'm saying, you could actually get that channel. And it's funny because the brother, he contacted Ricky, Cam. He said he was coming in very strong with Cam because he said that the reason why he contacted Cam because Cam said, well, he said, well, you don't know me. We didn't know each other in this life, but we used to be partners in another life. Yeah, he said we used to be partners in another life. So therefore, he was coming in very strong with Cam. which is Ricky up in Massachusetts. He was coming in strong with him and all, and different things. And basically, he was telling him, he didn't tell him too much talk too much about himself. He just told Ricky that basically, you know everything there is to know, as far as basically we know all the knowledge that we need to know. It's just that having confidence in it. So basically that's what he was saying. You know, basically you know what time it is, or you know the spiritual things and all. It's just a matter of having confidence in it. You see what I'm saying? And so that's what he actually actually said to Cam, which is Ricky, I think he'll be moving down in about 2 weeks, he said.
I'm going to say that when she started mentioning him and I tuned it into him, he came, his aura is very strong, vibrant, yellow, and he's a very personable person. I've never met him in this life. He's a very personable and warm, caring person, because he started asking me personal questions and about myself. He's like, how come we didn't get running into each other before, you know? And how come you're single, you know, little stuff like that. He likes, you know, the female energy. And he comes often, you know, and he wanted to know, he was very concerned about his mother, and he wanted to know if the message got to her and stuff. And so he's very concerned about his people. He's not like what's portrayed, in the media and stuff. This harsh, brutal person. He's a very sensitive, warm, caring person. And I just met him in the spirit, and he's just likable, So he comes, every now and then. He was met in the spirit by Brother Malcolm and Brother Marvin and Hugh and Newton, and then they went and got his father, and they sat down and talked. I also got, based on that, a piece from Brother Malcolm based on that too, because Brother Malcolm, they discussed about what was the latest happening down here, because they all got jobs on that side, and so they're busy. And so, Brother Dushakor, he hipped him to what was going on, what was the lowdown, and that's why Brother Malcolm said he was checking on Louis Farrakhan, because, Tupac told him what was going on and stuff. And so I have a piece that I'll type up and I'll distribute it here, and about what Brother Malcolm had to say, about us in general, his piece of advice to us, and so, and he's learning. Tupac is he's learning, he's going through the schooling, and he's schooling on that side, and he's learning, but he comes in and out, he just walked right into the heavens. He didn't go through no suffering, no hell damnation and all of that, because he was very prepared to die, and that helps. When you're aware of death, you embrace it, you don't be scared, and that's what he's saying, don't be scared, because he walked straight, because he decided he wasn't coming back into that physical body because he was too jammed up. He refused to come back living like that because he did not want to live like an invalid. So he decided that he was going to go. Yeah, that's sometimes most people, I believe most people have the choice on whether they could stay or not, but they look around and say, hell, I'm going to be down here from neck up and neck down, and I'm paralyzed. Some of them be like, get all messed up. Who the hell want to be walking around like Superman with a damn thing in your throat and just, hell, you might as well just... Now, white people, they want to stay down here because... Yeah. You see, but brothers be like, I see peace and all, I'm going to get the hell on. Because it's selfishness. The only people really have to deal with death is us down here, not the dead. And he had the option to stay because when he first got up there, they said he wasn't assignment. And he said, well, and he talked to, and he got permission to stay. He said, I'm not going back. See, because he, what you was getting ready to say? Yeah, but he didn't say who did it, did he? He said he believes it's an inside job. Biggie didn't do it, and it's an inside job. And he was rushed out of the house without his vest on, and he said he blamed himself for not putting it on. Well, what Juju got was that that guy was into a whole lot of stuff. Yes, the emphasis is on him.
Suge. It's like the record company was started by getting some money from some niggas that he got to pay up. You see what I'm saying? Because you got to, probably the origin of it, where did he get the origin of it? He is pretty damn young. Where did he get the origin to start this thing? And so based on that is some stuff that's rotting in the cotton. And so when it all boiled down, it was just like the classic mobster type thing. Not from the mob, but the new mob, which is Negro mob. Say, hey, you know, you owe us and that kind of thing. Yeah. And they said that the white boy, now, you know, white people, this white guy who was a major critic said that they saw the movie and they said that the guy had superb acting skills. And that's what the white boy said. You see. But then again, on the other hand, what black actor who, most black people never really had to have acting skills because we have to have a dual role anyway. That's the reason why you could have people like Eddie Murphy and them never acted in their day and come right in and do major roles. Why is it that black people can automatically act? Because, hell, we got to act just, we use a dual act. You know, we act like we got to act when we go to business. And so, and when we come to the hood, we got to act in another way. So, therefore, it pays off when you go to Hollywood. You say, oh, shit, I can do that. You know, that ain't nothing to do. So most black people are natural actors and stuff. You see, like that, all this kind of, you see. So let's finish this Gnostic thing up. The demiurge world, which is the demonized world, is the basic pattern that belongs to these terms in relationship with the Gnostic myths, involves an era of fall and wisdom. The material world and its rulers emerge from a displaced power and wisdom. The demonic powers created a psychic material atom, which is man. The archons giving a glimpse of the immortal man that leads them to give Adam a form of a superior than their own, which means that the immortals, they gave rise to this Adam and they gave him a form superior to their own. After the wisdom secretly provides Adam with spirit and powers that recognize that their creation and his power is superior to their own. They seek further means to imprison humans in ignorance. And to imprison humans in ignorance. So this is just verifying what I told you. Once they saw what they created, because Sophia had snuck up behind them, they realized they had created a power that was superior to their own because it had the original Christ of the original creator broken up and put into all of us that will become one now, and that's what you get the word covenant from. And the Ark of the Covenant, which is a disc, which is all of the stars, all of the ones down here coming back to oneness and stuff. So once they realized that, they said, well, we got to keep them in ignorance. So that's why the last 2,000 years we've basically been steeped in ignorance. The Gnostic mystery, the angels are demonic powers that seek to introduce passions into humankind, thus enslave the Gnostic race. The demiurge was unable to eradicate all of the Gnostic race, which is black people. The Creator gave devices and schemed with his powers, but the rest of the episode is clearly variant of Christian Jewish tale. Now, the other Gnostic story identifies that the demonic are the 7 planetary rulers and their hostility towards Adam of us and wisdom to throw them out of heaven to the earth, or throw them out of heaven to the earth, and they begin to operate in sinful demons, as sinful demons. Now, basically what it says here, in order to counter the influence of the demonic powers, the immortal, which is our ancient ancestors, or the actual gods, sent Gnostic spirits into the world to reveal knowledge. And they tried to pollute these beings by maligning their seed with them, but this plan failed. Now, what do they mean by that? They said that in order to counter the God that sets over this particular realm and his particular angels, they sent other gods from Sirius and the other planet, the other spiritual zones, to give us knowledge. So basically, they sent channels and different things to the priests, and they wrote down all these things in Scripture. And so the Gnostic race said, hey, we know what we'll do to get them off the path. We will pollute their seed, will pollute their seed within them. But their plans fails. Now, why did their plan fail? Because they tried to pollute the seed by, they created what you would call a counterfeit spirit. They tried to pollute the seed, but their plan failed for the simple fact that each time a counterfeit spirit comes in touch with a black person, it becomes a real spirit, which means, you know what I'm saying, which we are examples of that ourselves. You see what I'm saying? We are examples of that ourselves. So the basic thing that did work is they gave us passions and stuff based on material items to get us off of the to get us off of the higher realms, to get us off of the actual higher realms. So now I want to get you a few other scriptures and stuff, and then I want to get this thing going on, but I want to give a few other scriptures. What they say is in contrary to what we say. The Gnostics also believed that sex was first pleasurable, procreation second, which means, okay, we know you're going to have babies, but that's given, being you are trapped into a reincarnation cycle. But they said that spiritual pleasures was more superior for the simple fact that you can harness a certain amount of energy within you, which you know is sexual tantra. So therefore, even in the Gnostic thing, they said it is not. Now this is going to sound strange to you because you've been thinking in a way of thinking, you've been in a way of thinking a different doctrine. They said that it is not bad to abort the baby. Now, people saying, yeah, boy, yeah, you know, it stirred me too, but I'm busy hearing their conversation. Yeah. They say it's not really bad to abort the baby. Now, what does they mean by that? They knew that most of the people on the earth was going to have children anyway. What the Gnostic people said was, hey, that you are only stopping a spirit from being trapped in the damn prison anyway. So it's not really bad. It only becomes bad when it was, and you know they used to use certain birth control and all this kind of thing here. But they said it only became bad based on moralism when they said go forth and multiply because the dollar broth want to keep spirits down here trapped. You see what I'm saying? So when you look at it that way, it's not bad for the simple fact you didn't kill nothing. You can't kill that. You can only stop that from dying. It's dead when it comes into the physical body unless it gets the chance to live and coming into knowledge of self. So that means it can come into the physical body for reincarnation after reincarnation and don't learn no knowledge, and that means you just talking about something just being dead the whole time it's down here. It's only living when it comes into the knowledge of what it really is, because the original thing you were a God, because you were that of the original creator. You see what I'm saying? Or either that of Atlantis when you knew that you were gods. So the only time you live is that when you see, so they say coming into wisdom. That's in what? Proverbs. The coming of wisdom is the knowledge of the Lord. One of them, what do they mean by that? They're talking about the knowledge of you being Lord. I self Lord and Master Islam. You see what I'm saying? I self Lord and Master. So that's what they mean by that. It's when you are becoming that particular part. So it wasn't nothing to it wasn't nothing for them to abort, for the simple doggone fact that it's different than what you're thinking of. They were stopping something from coming, and they can abort for the simple fact that they understood that this was death down here. And that's the difference on what you... So we're talking about changing a whole way of your thinking is what we're talking about here. Changing a whole way of your actual thinking and all. Now, they talk about the fool. What is the fool? The fool is deceived by the visual realm. So like I've been telling you before, they said that nigga, they're crazy. I can't see that. That's some old spook stuff. How in the devil I can see? It's the same thing what the same thing what the Christians been saying, but they done distorted stuff until you just get a bad flavor on anything they say. Because their stuff was rooted out of this. So they say the fool is deceived by the visual realm. The fool, good and evil, are exactly the same. So they're saying as long as you are takes on the practices of this original fool, you are a fool too, and you are exactly the same. For the wise person will be nourished by truth and knowledge, and will be like a tree planted in the streams of water. Indeed, there are some people who have wings, and they fly to the visual realm. This is far from the truth, for which leads them mainly to fire. Now, let me explain that to you in a few minutes. Will presently truth-like absorption, and will shine upon them corruptingly. What they mean by that? As beauty. And take them captive in sweet, dark sweetness, and will catch them up in fragrance pleasure. Now, what do they mean by that? They say here that a person who goes to the light, or go to the, I want to get this right, go to the fire, he will be caught up because he'll be trapped in beauty. Anytime the beauty thing on the physical realm, and you are so captivated by the beauty, that's one of the desires of a dollar broth. They keep talking about fire here. Fire. Guess what a dollar broth is? The original sun is the sun behind the sun. Our sun is a reflection, supposedly, of an original sun. The original sun being Sirius, which is now not in space, is down here on earth and is inside of you. That's where Sirius is. Heaven realm is within. That means that it is inside of you. And when you look out there, and if you so happen to find that by the star in the constellation, you're only reflecting something that is inside your brain. That's the way it is. Ain't nothing out there in the heavens. That's all a hologram. But when you see the light, you're only reflecting something that's on the inside of you. It's just like being in a dark house, and you got a movie screen of the physical world, and you thinking that movie screen is reality. And while you're looking at that, you can't see the actual stars that's inside of your head. Even because you're looking in the movie and seeing the stars up in the sky. But all that is nothing but a reflection of what's on the inside of you. So, when you're dealing with the real sun is the hidden sun. Amen Ra. Amen, which means hidden. The hidden sun. Amen Ra. So the real sun is inside of you. The fake sun is out there in the sky. That's a dollar broth. That's who a dollar broth is. Remember now, a dollar broth rules the 7 planetary spheres. He don't rule his upper triad because you can get out through binary understanding, which I'm going to explain how to kill him. And then you go to this is called the archetypal world, and this is the premium mobile, which is Kether. But all of this goes like in a way down here because one is in the other. We'll explain that in question and answer. But the key is the sun right here, Tipperath, number 6 is Tipperath, the sun. What does it say? It says B-U-A-U-T-Y, beauty. That's a dollar broth, which is the fake sun. That sun that you see out there is the one that's keeping all of you in slavery, because that sun lights up this holographic world and makes the light so bright that you can't see with inwardly into the spiritual world. That's why you do your best shit at night. That's when you at the peace, when you at night. And guaranteed, the more spiritual you'll get, the more you will hate the sun to shine. I swear to God. I love it now when it's cloudy outside and it's raining. And black people used to like it too, because that's the time when you would go and do sex when some good rain coming. You ever heard that before? You understand? That's spiritual. Sex is the ultimate of spirituality is sex. You used to go and do the sex when the rain would come in the whole time, 9 yards and stuff, or when? At night. You see what I'm saying? And I don't care how you do it in the daytime and how erotic it is, it still ain't as good as at night. That's why things are more romantic at night. Because night is our time. Because night is the most spiritual time, because you don't have that sun out there distracting things. And even if you ever channel, you can channel better at night than you can in the morning, because also in the morning, when everything is up, when that sun is out, you got all your negative thoughts going on. And the best time to channel at night when things is cooled down. And that's when you're using the energy that is inside of you. You understand what I'm saying? That's why when you see the gargoyles, now this ain't vampirism. The gargoyles, they wake up at night because the melanin, which is the sun inside, is more active at night.
Because the ancient Hemmitt people, they worked at night. And they slept during the day or whatever.
That's right. Or they just tried to get out of the damn sun. You know, that's why when you go to Africa, what do the black men do? They sit under the tree all day. They chilling on the stump. So when we got over here, the people saying that you lazy and stuff, that ain't our energy. And so now when you see the black man around the liquor store and all this kind of thing here, the liquor is involved, but in actuality, he's only doing something which he's been programmed to do since he's been on the planet, and that's chill out. And that's why black people chill out during the daytime and stuff, and what they used to before times got so drastic that they had to do all this particular stuff. But in the daytime, when you were working and stuff, that's given to doggone Caesar's what is his, which is the devil. You see what I'm saying? And all the negative energy. A dollar broth is the one that light up this beauty. That's the fake sun there. That's why that sun don't shine outside of the earth and this atmosphere, because it's only a hologram. That's because that's the fake sun. And as long as you love that sun, it keeps you from getting the sun which is on the inside of you. So he traps you up in beauty. He traps you up in beauty, in beauty, and that's what that particular sun is with the dollar broth and all. Now let me get a few more things and all, because I want to I got some few other. I'm just giving you a rendition of the scripture that shows that everything, if you start reading this scripture, surely it's not going to be nothing moralistic as you say. They say, well, what about living long and all? They say, well, the hell with it. They say, why? They say, give under a dollar about which is his. They say, basically, the Gnostic scriptures say, basically, hey, you worrying about the wrong thing with all this obedience. And even with the Jesus that's talking about here, they say, well, what about diet? He said, why do something that you hate to do? You know you like to eat, so eat, drink, and be merry. Now, that's what Jesus is saying in here. I'm telling you, basically, everything that the black man does and the black woman does that you call the lowly, despised group of people that's out here in the streets, other than a foreign substance that they own, is basically what you're supposed to be doing. And basically what it is it's not so much as taking responsibility in this life in so much as it is paying attention to the other realm. So you say, well, I take responsibility based on my kids. Your kids don't need but one thing, something to put in their damn stomach, and they don't need all of that. Your kids are more advanced than what you think. And as long as you put the excuse off on your children, you understand what I'm saying? That's the problem we have, and all this, because we train to say that these particular children are things that in actuality need more care than we think they need. You see what I'm saying? Now let's deal with some stuff on the dollar broth. It's going to be in this book. So they talk about the fate of the fool. The fool now look at this. The fool is basically, it's the white man in here and black people who are dead, but they are not permanent fools in here. It says, a wise person relies upon truth. The Savior's answer saying, blessed are those wise people who seek truth or who have sought truth, once have found it and has relied upon it forever, has not feared those who wish to cause disturbance. So they're saying the truth. And so basically, the wise man that they're talking about, that's you and all. You should associate with your own kind. Okay, now. And you understand why the Bible got to be in here, because the Gnostic scriptures say, hey, listen, you should associate with your own kind. And this is what Thomas, the Gospel of Thomas that they took out of the book, says to the Lord. Is it best for us, is it best for the rest of us to rest among our own? Is it, let's see, Lord, Thomas answered and said, Lord, is it best for us to rest among our own? And the Savior said, indeed, it is useful and good for you, plural. You see what I'm saying? Plural, that's what it says. It is indeed, so they're saying that you're supposed to be with your own kind. Now, there's a difference between the real scriptures and the scriptures that was carved up, which is a ward of the doggone Roman government. And the only reason why you don't know that is because we don't understand the historical concepts of what happened. A book that can be ordered if you want to get the political thing on all that messed up stuff that went down is this book, which was out of print for years. This is one of John Henry Clark's favorites, and it's called Who is This King of Glory? The Critical Study in the Christos Messiah Tradition. Christos Messiah tradition. And it talks about who is this King of glory. And it talks about how the Roman government took all the scriptures and turned them around. And he goes, take this stuff all the way back to Egypt, Islam, and everything. Who is this King of glory is Alvin Boyd Kuhn is his name. Who is this King of glory? As a matter of fact, John Henry Clark told me about that book back in '81. But I had to wait until the out-of-print company, which is Kessinger, put the book out. Who is this King of Glory by Alvin Boyd Kuhn is his name. And it deals with that particular stuff on how the historical thing on how they took those scriptures and made those scriptures other than what they actually say. You should ignore the fool. Thomas's answer said, we can say in the presence of the people, they will say that to the blind person, which is teaching that shall utter the wretched mortals and say, we have come for doing good and not for revealing. Moreover, they will say, if we had been born in the flesh, then we should not become acquainted with our iniquities. The Savior say, truly do not consider these people to be human beings. Now that's saying don't even consider these fools to be human beings. Rather count them as as domestic animals. Now let's go back to the thing before that on what they said. They said if we not had been born in the flesh, we would not have become acquainted with our iniquities. So they're saying that in actuality it's okay to be immersed in beauty and all the things that actually take us from the Christ spirit if we had not been born in flesh. So that's what the doggone Bible tells you, that you're born in sin and you are evil inherently. That's what the Bible says. All through the whole book, they never say that the man is Christ-like other than Jesus Christ. They always say that the man is evil and he needs one man to save them. And here they say, and that's basically what they said in this passage, but the Savior say, truly do not consider these people as human beings. Rather count them as domestic animals. For just as animals devour one another, so also human beings of this kind devour one another. This is on page 406 of the book. We should ignore the fools. Punishment of the fools. By they are excluded from the kingdom, insomuch as they love the sweetness of fire, which is the sun, and servants of death, and pursue deeds of defilement. The perfect desire of their ancestors. So they're talking about a people. It's plain as day. They will be cast down into the abyss and punished, and the fate belonging to the bitterness of their evil nature. Indeed, they will be flogged until they rush wither, and they will not they will be flogged until they rush wither, and they will not. You have to figure out what they mean by that. And they will recede from their limbs, and not partly, but despair. And they will rejoice at the madness and become dumbfounded. Being they rush towards the dumbfoundedness, which is ignorance, with not understanding their madness and thinking that they are wise. That's what the white man does. Their body with their heart set upon their own selves, and their thoughts upon their actions. So they are in love with the physical body and their actions. They are just in love with themselves. But is the flame that will consume them. Now they're talking about the kundalini that will burn them up. And I understand they got a TV show on about people burning up now. What's called? Yeah, but they put black people in there and all. And it says, Thomas answered and said, Lord, will each of them be cast down into them, which each of them be cast down? And I am very anxious about them, since many oppose them. The Savior answers and says, what do you think? What do you think? Jude is called Thomas, and the Lord should speak, and they who should listen too. So they go into this whole thing about the punishment of them. But they say, do not even consider them as human beings. Now, here it is in black and white, and now the beautiful part about this is we can't front no more and say what the Bible says, because this is the real stuff that the Bible came from. Dug up in 1945. You see, dug up in 1945. And all this, these are the real ones. Now, there's two of these. There's the Gnostic Scripture, and then there's the Nyack Hammadi Library by James Robinson. But I would suggest the Gnostic Scripture, because what they do is he is going, since it took them 19 or 18 years, but they have gone in and actually they translated them at first, and you got the raw scriptures in the Nag Hammadi Library, this big book. This one, they came in and they put the headings under what the actual scriptures say, so you just go to the headings and then boom. Sometimes you could read the headings and don't even have to go into what the Christ is actually saying. Go into what the Christ is actually saying. But it's beautiful in here, and this is the beautiful part about this, which makes this different than the Bible. In here the Christ surely states, he says, I am the Redeemer, but I myself have to be redeemed. And then I will redeem those who I come after, and they redeem me. He never ever has a superiority that he is over the people that he is coming to redeem, because it's talking about the Christ which is in you. And it says the Christ is in you. So this is like your inside spirit speaking inside out. And it says, I am the Christ, which is your inner self, saying, I am the Redeemer, but I have to be redeemed. So that's what you're doing now. You're going through the struggle to redeem it. Then it says, I come and I redeem them, and they redeem me, which is saying that, then he even said, then my siblings, we are all at one. So that means we're talking about none other than, they give you in so many words that you're talking about a race of people other than one person, because the Christ is within. And never in here does he come and literally says that he is above the people that he is redeeming, because he is in every one of the people, which is clearly stated in all of the book. You see what I'm saying? So we're talking about pure scriptures if you take the time to sit down and read them, and all, but never read them as if it's outside of yourself. And that's where you mess up. Reading some damn person that you think walked the earth 2,000 years ago, when it is meant for you to get this book now and read this particular book as a doggone pathway to your soul. You see what I'm saying? As a pathway to your soul. Now let's get a few other things on a dollar bra. Few other things on a dollar bra, and then we're going to go into how to kill him, and a few other things we're gonna deal with before we close out tonight. The reproof of a dollar bra's arrogance. Their chief is blind because of its power. It lacks the acquaintance, and it is arrogant, and it said of power, it is I who am God. There is no one apart from me. This is what he said. He's so damn arrogant. And you know that's the Bible does put that in there to let you know who's talking. It is no one apart from me. It is said that I sinned against eternity, and the utterance is got up to incorruptibility. Now it says, then there was the voice that came forth from incorruptibility, and saying, you have mistaken Adolabroth, which is the God of the blind. So what happened is that Sophia came in and said, Adolabroth, don't lie. There is a God before you, and he lives on the earth. And Adolabroth is very jealous, and they say, I am a jealous God of Adam, and I must suppress him and keep him into slavery, and keep him into slavery, and all. So it's still talking about that particular Adolabroth. The passes of Adolabroth, passes of power out of Adolabroth. Its thoughts is blind, having expelled its power, that is blasphemy, and had spoken. And it's purged down into chaos and to the abyss, and its mother, and the instigation and forth the wisdom of the peace of Sophia. I don't even know why I'm reading this kind of stuff, because a lot of this stuff here you have to go in and stop and really see what it's saying, and it don't really deal with in a lecture. You see what I'm saying? Some things can be read and not said, like that. No. and not say it like that. Now let's try to get through this one last passage here. It says, next we will consider that the eon and the realm, they say that the earth don't go on time, it go on eons, eon after eon after eon. And it don't go on really time and dates and all this kind of thing. You got the eon of this, the eon. So they say that the earth goes on certain eons. The eon of the mother at first, which is Isis. The eon of Osiris, where the god died, which is us dying. And then the eon of Heru, which is redemption. And those are the eons that you consider, not dates and stuff. And it says, we'll consider the eon realm, the model of the great eons of incorruptibility. They will also go to Sakla. When you see the word S-A-K-L-A, that's another word for a doggone Adalabra, their God, and they will go to the powers, accursing the great men that dwell in their glory. And they will say to Adalabra, what is this power of these people who have stood in your presence, who have been structured from posterity from Cam, or the blackness, and Ayapath and Japhet, which means as this sons of Noah were hell. If one of the sons of Noah was black, that means that his brothers couldn't be nothing but black, and the damn father can't be nothing but black. You know what I'm saying? And Noah is only a biblical representation of the black people who fell from Atlantis in that flood. Not a literal thing of putting 4 or 5 animals in a damn boat and stuff like that type stuff. But it's just a mystical thing that's talking about Atlantis. That's talking about Atlantis and stuff. The people have received back into the other realms, and from which they have come, and have overthrown the glory of your power in the dominion of your hand. For within the realms of the eons, where your rule has been dominant, posterity of Noah thought that his sons has done all will of yourself and all the powers. And while also those people are the people who sojourned into glory, have done the pleasing to you, and but rather upset your entire throne. So they're actually saying that whoever these archons, they are talking to their father, Adalabroth, and they're telling him how these people of Cam and Noah have actually came and tore down your stuff and have gone back to their regular realms. So this is one that's also talking about resurrection. Now, this particular book, the Gnostic Scriptures, is talking, it gives you the actual, it gives you all the particular stuff that's actually going on in the Gnostic world. Now, this particular book there, Peace to Sophia is the book that actually, this book was left by the Gnostics after they killed them off. This is the scriptures, some of the leftover scriptures that the Romans used to write the Bible. The other scriptures, they took them and hid them in Egypt in a place called Nag Hammadi, and they was found in 1945. So in actuality, this is the last book of the Gnostic scripts, but the last book it was saved through eons and stuff. It was probably brought up into England by the Moors, and it was saved. But the the earlier books that goes into the Adalabra stuff, that stuff was hid until 1945. This book is dealing with Peace to Sophia is dealing with the Gnostic. It's the Gnostic unraveling of the books of the Savior. So this particular book is dealing with the stuff on the Savior and what the Savior is supposed to do. And basically, the Savior redeems himself and others by light. Well, at first I said, you imagine a great light around you. Well, that was one particular part, but the real part of light is synonymous to what? Knowledge and understanding. So the more and more you study and understand the mysteries of the universe, and more you study and stuff, the more and more you kill Adalabroth by your thoughts. So now, this is the key. There's a lot of stuff that's in the New Age that you have to read with a grain of salt, but there's one mystery that you can always do. That is, you get your ancient scripts, your Gnosticism, your Hermeticism, your ancient Egyptian Book of the Dead, and you deal with a lot of ancient stuff. And if the new stuff don't pan out where they can bear witness to the ancient stuff, you know that that's the white man that's coming in making some new shit for himself. Always deal with stuff where they include the ancient knowledge, and you'll know that particular stuff that they're explaining now is more truthful. You see what I'm saying? More truthful and all. and all. So that's what you do. You deal with the ancient knowledge, and that's how you actually can determine on whether you are on the right path and stuff. But the key is when it comes to light, light is based on, let me get my notes here because I want to, light is based on understanding, and that's one of the main keys. The more you understand, the more you put knowledge into this brain, the more and more your light shines. You see what I'm saying? So the more and more you think of importance of stuff outside that is not of truth and not of knowledge, the more and more you keep your light from enhancing. You see what I'm saying? So the deal is, C. Freeman L. used to say a lot of things. He said, because, there's ways to do things with diet and certain things that you can do physically to enhance the quality of your chakras and the different things spiritually. But there's a way to bypass a lot of things that you have to do physically, like diet and a lot of certain meditation, by just basically understanding. When you understand, you can bypass different things, different realms. Take, for instance, in psychic realms. You got people that don't understand ancient knowledge, and they can only pick up psychic things based on what somebody's mother's doing or what kind of marriage. And basically that's what you have on your psychic hotlines. Those people, see, there's different realms of psychic phenomenon. And based on your level of understanding the great mysteries of ancient, you greater get to the realms that the other psychics can't get to. Some psychics can only deal with the fourth dimension and the third dimension, which is basically mundane realms. You see what I'm saying? So when you come in and ask them something about something very high spiritual, they can only give you the mundane part of it. You see what I'm saying? Or they won't even pick it up because they can't get on that realm. But the more knowledge you can have, the more you can get on higher realms. So even in the psychic realm, because a person as a psychic don't necessarily mean a person has access to the knowledge that's on those realms, because it's gateways. And you can't get on those gateways to try to understand. So certain spiritual entities can't even come and even sojourn with you, not unless you have a certain knowledge of those spiritual entities. You see what I'm saying? So because most of those people are just basic psychics, where a psychic is only conducive to the knowledge that emanates it. So basically, if they don't know of any type of knowledge, they can only do psychic things based on the physical world. So they can do things based on a little bit of things that tell you what's going to happen in the future, a few things of what's going to happen, and a few things that's happening around you in your everyday life, but they can't tell you things on certain realms. And when it comes to some of these some of them, they can't get to that because of racism. So the certain realms ain't going to open up to them also too, because they understand that even if they give them some of that, they can't take what they see, and they always change it around. You see that?
White people are
very limited.
White psychics very limited on the realms they go, like you said.
Right, and see, like, take for instance, when I was up in New York, Bill Lilly said, "I'm gonna take you by this white lady," and then he stopped, and I guess he got a channel. He saying, by the way, she won't even know that you even have knowledge whatsoever, because that realm that you deal on, she won't even be able to even challenge. She can only deal on the realm what knowledge that she has. Even though this woman here was an advanced person that was this head witch. And I was like, well, I don't need to be messing around with her and stuff. I say, and that's the reason why they caught you up in some stuff recently and stuff, because they, because they vampires. You see, they can get your stuff. But the key is also too, a lot of them, I have met some of them, and they're psychics, but they have no way of knowing that I have any knowledge whatsoever. Although they can see your light and stuff, and they can say, oh, your aura is real strong enough, but they don't know because they're not on that particular realm. They're not on that particular realm. So the best way to kill him is basically, you based on your understanding. So even this, and I've come to find out now, even with the books, it's one thing to read the books, and it's one thing to just, if you just take, for instance, if you just take some time to yourself. A lot of times when we take time to ourselves, we have relaxation. We don't be thinking about nothing knowledgeable. Take time to yourself, or just sit down and think on knowledgeable things. Something that's knowledge on how you're going to get out of this, and what are the things that the stuff that you have learned by now, and therefore you will get the actual channels, or you will get the actual understanding. There's only one problem with getting a certain understanding, because we don't have confidence in ourselves. When the stuff come to us, we just say, oh, that's just some shit. I'm just thinking of some shit. It should be so correct, be so true, and you know it's true, but you be like, oh, that's just me thinking. I'm making this up. That ain't you thinking. That's actually a channel, and you thinking it's something else because we don't have confidence in ourselves. And I'm guilty of that myself. You see, I'm guilty of that myself because there's always a constant thing you have to work at because we've been trained this particular way. So these are things that we also talk about that you have to, that you actually have to do, to get to a certain level. Now, in the Kabbalah, it also says that, in short, the chosen people are the light of the world, which is us. And the light which at the present is mixed with darkness, the Gentile, the children of Esau. 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 That ain't got nothing to do with no issue. That's Esau. This darkness will vanish little by little. First, Israel will look forth as the dawn. Next, she will become fair as the moon. Then as clear as the sun. And lastly, as terrible as an army with banners. Such is the reformulation of Yahweh, Ahava, Jehovah. Then it is accomplished. Not a Gentile will be left to pollute the earth. For Israel will become the messianic shin and unite the tongue of God and the utterance of his name until the entire universe will vanish into absolute light. So that means that the universe is a holographic universe. You see what I'm saying? And this is the meaning of illumination of the Kabbalah. So they're talking about Israel having light, but it is mixed with darkness, so it is mixed. And in A.E. Waite's Kabbalah, they said that they talk about these particular ones that are they call them what did they call these particular ones? They call them intruders, and they say these are intruders that followed Israel in their exodus from bondage, which means in actuality they're talking about us and stuff, with a certain people going to a certain level and all that followed, or either they're talking about people that's here now that have not been sorted out, that have not been sorted out and all. Now, it's interesting because Adar-Labroth in actuality, they say, is weak and is dying, but he is being helped by a group of secret society like the Illuminati. They do rituals and things to keep him afloat. Or they keep him afloat by keeping this thing prominent when it comes to a Christian religion and all this particular stuff. And you notice everything on cable is all these religious shows. And they got about 10,000 black people preaching. They got sisters preaching. They even got a singing preacher. They got some black man that he got an hour-long show. He just sing the whole time. He sing his damn gospel. He sing his thing out. And they just keep this thing afloat the whole time. They keep this thing afloat the whole time. And they can do this and all. So in actuality, he is actually weak. But the key is the only people have to know the light is us. And less than this room, but basically us, who so happens to be serious about what they into. And basically being serious about you into, it doesn't necessarily have to be a 24-hour endeavor. It's just got to be a part of your daily life where you constantly thinking about it when you just doing what you're doing. Because thoughts are things, and that's the key that we're talking about here, is constantly doing it while you are doing what you're doing, because that's the main key. And so we're talking about some kind of balance that we're talking about here, some kind of balance that we're talking about. And so that's what the deal is. Another book is a little small book you can buy, is the Gnostic Gospels by Elaine Pagels. She was one of the ones that first translated the scriptures from Coptic in 1977 also, too. She also got one called Adam, Eve, and the Serpent. Another book is called Jung and the Lost Gospels, inside of the Dead Sea Scrolls and the Nag Hammadi Library. The Nag Hammadi Library is the one that they found in 1945. The Dead Sea Scrolls is the one they found in 1947. You see, 1947. That also deals with, that also has a whole chapter on Adar-Labroth called Princes of the World, Myth of the Tyrant Angels. Princes of the World, Myth of the Tyrant Angels. And this particular person, his name is Stephen A. Hoellerer. What's that? Hoellerer? Hoellerer. L-L-E-R, and they talk about the myth of the tyrant angels, which is also a doll of wrath and stuff. But remember now, when you're reading the Jesus up in here, this is not the Jesus of 2,000 years ago. This Jesus now is you in the physical body that's getting ready to be redeemed. It has nothing to do with a historical Jesus whatsoever that did not exist. Or if he did exist, he was a false person saying that I am the Christ and you need to follow me. As the scriptures also said also too, in so many words, that there was a false Messiah that came. But the false Messiah that everybody is waiting on came 2,000 years ago. Basically what the Gnostics, and this is the reason why they had to kill these people off. Now here you're supposed to be a so-called spiritual people and supposed to be the light of the world, and you're supposed to be Christianity, supposed to be the way. But seem to me, your whole history from the start of taking somebody's work from them and killing them off so it wouldn't be revealed that you plagiarized their work and changed it around to fit your political enslavement of people, all the way through the Crusades up until now, all Christianity has done on this earth is kill people. Kill people, kill people. You see what I'm saying? Under the banner of the divine destiny and bringing Christ to the rest of the doggone world and the whole 9 yards. Bringing people a book that they had already had 1,000,000 years before the cracker even came with a lie, with a lie. So what we're going to do is right now we're going to go into a question and answer period to get some other juices flowing and all, so we can disseminate some of this particular information here also too. Because remember now, your questions are not questions, they are answers. There are answers that's actually asking for insight or asking for clarity of answers in the first doggone place. So it don't have nothing, so there's no such thing. So that's why the question and answers are actually important, because they're not questions. They're answers that need to be clarified. What's that? And then you, raise your hand. What's that? Okay. A sister went to a Vodun ritual last night in Philly. She called me this morning. And they told them how to make money, how they could do a ritual to, let me see the god, I need to get this right, which would be equivalent to, remember now, any god you can cross-reference to, I think it's Azuli. No, hold on, let me see. That would be Oshun. Yes, see. Let me just look down here down my Roger. Hold on. Azuli. 808, Ogufarele, Ogushingo. It's Azuli. Azuli. That would be Oshun. So it's either Azuli or Oshun. One of the two. Azuli, Oshun. Which should that be in Isis? Which should that be in Egypt? Aset or Het-Heru. Het-Heru. Hathor Het-Heru. So it's Oshun, Azuli, or Het-Heru. But so, since this is Vodun, I would rather you to put Oshun and Azuli. I want you to put those two, because we don't know what, I think it was coming from the Vodun, which we know Vodun and them was hand in hand, but I would rather for you to put both of them and rather leaving two of them out, because you calling the names. It means the same person, but I would just say put both of them. So it's dealing with, so Hathor would also be the heavenly Mary, for those people that stuck in Christianity or whatever you want to call it. There's the earthly Mary that has the baby, then there's the heavenly Mary, which would be basically Sophia. Newt. It's all the same thing. One thing about the goddesses, they're all intertwined. You can't really say one without the other when you really talk about it, because it's all oneness. It's the same thing. It's all oneness. It's like 99 attributes of Allah. It's the same thing. So so what the deal is, and that's one reason why Christianity is such a slave religion, for the simple fact it does not give you your attributes that you can use to actually spiritually help yourself, like Islam does with the 99 attributes, as well as all other religions give you the attributes that Christianity just tell you to be subservient to some particular God that's going to kill you. And my point is I want to say this one thing. My point is this: you really got to be an insecure person to want a whole world to worship you and be up under you, and they don't even get no fruits of the kingdom, not unless they worship you and be subservient to you. That's really the devil. If you God and you created something, why would you be so insecure of the creation of the thing that you created when you got the blueprints of creation? But that lets you know that that one doesn't have the blueprints of creation, because he only created a shell for bondage, but she put the original Adam down here anyway that is above him. You see, it's a concept what you say. So now, she said this is what you do. She said you have to go and you have to buy 2 pieces of parchment paper. 2 pieces of parchment paper. You take those 2 pieces of parchment paper and you write on both pieces of paper your bills and everything that you need money for. You see what I'm saying? Everything that you need money for. I would say basically be moderate, or be moderate when you do these things and all. Ask for what you need and not no dream shit. And don't ask for no kind of stuff of some foolishness. You know what I'm saying? So ask for what you need and stuff, you see. Like that, no. So don't ask them to give you a damn career in singing or some other dumb junk. Or give you $1 million so you can act a fool and be like RuPaul and the rest of them crazy fools out there. So what you're going to do is so the first thing you're going to do is you're going to get the 2 pieces. You're going to list all your bills on the parchment paper. You're going to take one of the paper and you're going to put honey on one piece. And you're going to fold it up and you're going to put it, that's Oshun, right? Yep, or Zuli. And you're going to fold it up and you're going to put it in a paper bag. Then you're going to tie that paper bag in a string at the top, and for some kind of reason you're going to take that string and you're going to either put a thumbtack or you're going to tape it up under your table, whatever table you got, whether you got a kitchen table, end table, or whatever kind of table you got. I'm saying you put it up under your table. If you got a bar in your house, put it wherever you put something. Put it up under a table and let that bag hang down. The other piece you're going to take and you're going to put it on the altar. On an altar or on a shelf or anything, you know what I'm saying, and you're going to put a pink candle on it and burn it. And basically, they say that it's supposed to just give you everything you need. And they say it's a real good one coming from, I mean, these people had to come in there and spend $10 just to get this ritual from some sister that went to Haiti to get this particular ritual. So you see what I'm saying? Yeah. So you bearing witness to the stuff and all, because you know Oshun. So those people who need to, how many people need to spell Oshun right? Okay, and Azuli is, let me get, okay. I didn't.
What was it?
E-R-Z, what's that?
E-R-Z-U-L-I-E.
And that's the particular ritual on that. On that particular thing. So that's all you have to do. And basically, I'm going to tell you, basically, with people that's doing stuff for the first time, basically, it works. It works. And everybody I told the 4 penny ritual, too, about going to a crossroads on Monday and putting 4 pennies on each corner of 4 pennies on this corner, 4 pennies on this corner, 4 pennies on this corner, on each corner of the crossroads, and asking Legba or Elegba for financial lead. It usually works about a week after, but everybody used to do that, and it actually did work. You know, did it work for you too? Yep. Yep. Higher dimension, so they could do greater things. Disappear, all kinds of things. They could do greater things of what a God could do in the physical body. And so he was mad at that particular time, and he ended up coming down to Atlantis in the final stages after millions of years and sinking it usually by manipulating priests and manipulating a certain amount of people. Now, also while he was in Atlantis, he said, man, this is the deal. We do not have a direct input with the man. So what we got to do is we got to create a counterfeit spirit. And that's when he went to Yakub or these scientists in Egypt or this priesthood in Atlantis, and they created the white man so the white man could house this evil demiurge or this evil counterfeit spirit that Adalabroth created. Y'all with me? We know this because it's got to be a certain spirit that is in him for him to keep evil up year after year after year after year. There's things that he didn't do in the 1800s that he don't do now, that he did in the 1800s. But if you notice, the racism lasted up to now, and it has become more advanced. You see what I'm saying? That is because it's not that also that he is evil by nature, because he is, but he is evil by nature because the actual energy that houses him is these evil demiurge spirits that is in this counterfeit spirit. And all of this is in this Gnostic stuff. They had to get rid of this shit because this stuff is telling all the stuff. So they had to kill them all off. They had to kill them all off. So then we built up Egypt. And this is where we come into play now. Once they built up Egypt, they came in because the Egyptians had gotten so advanced until they could make alchemy, and this is what it was. In the scriptures, let me get the scriptures for you because I want to deal with some stuff here. Y'all all right? In the scriptures, let me explain this. The Egyptians used to could go ahead and manipulate the force so they can get off the planet and didn't have to come back no more. And what they would do is they could mummify a body, and long as they say that your body can't ascend, not until it is totally decomposed. So you'll be in a catatonic state, you'll be in another dimension, but you'll still be tied to that body until it really decomposed. That's why the people in India would burn the body so the body could reincarnate and come back fast. You see what I'm saying? So they would burn the body. And once the body, they burn it in one day, it can reincarnate, and some of them could come, a priest can come in and snatch a damn body and be back on the earth in a damn hour. You see? And all. So the Egyptians say, but that's a low thing. We don't want to even stick around it because this is the low level that Adalabroth created. This is the jailhouse. So what they would do is they would fool Adalabroth by what they would do is they would embalm the body. And long as that body was still here, they knew how to transcend the body and go into the other realm, and that body would take the place of it, and they can get past and don't have to reincarnate. What happens is this. Adalabroth has us in slavery, and what he does is this. Once you get out of the prison, he tells you never to kill yourself and never to do all this kind of thing here, and life is precious. He tells you that because that's the jailhouse. And because we born in the jailhouse, we just think that this is precious. Eating. When you really look at it, it's really some savage stuff. You're walking around with a tub of shit in you. You know what I'm saying? This is real shit, you know. I don't give a damn how skin you are. You got some shit in you right now. Otherwise, you would never have to shit. They say that the Kabbalah say that the physical body is the most foul thing. You got to eat, and you're basically on an animal level, but what separates you from the animal is you have a spiritual potential in you. You see what I'm saying? So what Adalabroth started doing was coming closer and closer to the earth and putting his grip on the earth till the vibratory rates slowed down. And so the last serious heaven on earth was Egypt. Then he slowed down the vibratory rate, and that fell. Now, this is what he did. We are in, the Gnostic schools is all around the Mediterranean. He did one thing that would be the last thing, in his last major punch that he did. You see, the whole thing about the Romans taking these scripts and writing the first four gospels, which is basically a moral doctrine. And anything moral keeps you from going into the spiritual realm. So what moral means is he creates this fear. So anytime we start talking about chakras, kundalini and stuff, you go, that's some devil shit. You see, it's going on to this day. People think this is satanic worship. You understand what I'm saying? And Satan, that Adalabroth calls, the first planet was Saturn, and on down like this. We talk about the fall, but we got to connect this thing. He didn't give them no light. Sophia said, man, he created all of them, and he created the earth, which was the final one. Sophia says, I got to recorrect this mess because this person is creating a whole universe. And the universe that he basically created is the one in our solar system. You see what I'm saying? That's the universe of that. That's why they will show you the physical, even when they deal with science, the physical planets that they show you, they usually show you the ones in our solar system. And they'll talk about other planets being formed, but they'll show you stars out there beyond our solar system. But mainly the ones, the physical planets in our solar system is the ones that Adalabroth created. Now listen. Sophia comes to the 7 planetary archons. She says, look, because they were mad at him. They said, this cat is ruling over us because he didn't give us no light. Although he didn't have the supreme light, he had a little light enough that can create the 7 planets. Because the gods, you can create a damn planet. That's what you can do. You can create a whole universe. So I think because he didn't have the complete light, he couldn't create stars, but he could create planets based on thought. So the other ones was mad. They say, well, damn, he created us, and so since he didn't give us no light, we are subservient under him. So Sophia comes, and she persuades the other ones to get together and persuade Adalabroth to create an earthly man. So they get together and they persuade Adalabroth to create this earthly man. And she said, now this earthly man that you create, he'll be lower than you all, and therefore you will have somebody that can also be up under you, and so therefore you can have somebody that you can be ruler over, and it won't be so bad for you all. All the while she was shitting them, and she was shitting Adalabroth also too. As a result, when they created the physical man, Adalabroth said, get together and say, let us make man. Because they said, no, now basically they say he created the heavens and the earth. Hell, the heavens just mean anything out of the earth, so it just means the 7 planets. So they were talking about Adalabroth the whole time. So when she gets together, she said, he created this man, but the man could not walk upright. It's not talking about the white man. This is the first creation of the physical body. So she gets together and she says, hey, why don't you breathe life into him? And when he breathed the light into him, Adalabroth did, he ended up giving the light that he had, a little bit that he did have, he breathed that into man, and she snooped behind him and gave man the complete original seed that the gods that was above Adalabroth, that was too arrogant to look up and say, I am the God and I shall have no God before me. She gave us the primal seed. And once Adalabroth saw what was going on, he got jealous and he got angry. He got angry. And as a result, he said he was going to destroy them. Seeing that he couldn't destroy all of them, what he did was he went and tried to seduce Eve and tried to get her light from her. But Eve, they say, went up into the tree and left a shadow behind. The shadow is called Darth. It's in this particular area, which is the black dot, which is Darth. She left a shadow behind. And when she left the shadow behind, he thought he was getting the doggone light and was always attacking the shadow. The shadow is called melanin. And the melanin attracts the original light. So Adalabroth said, if I see anybody with some light, I'm going to try to kill it. And so at this particular time, that the 7 planetary archons, because they had seen what was going on, they found out that the man on earth that was over them also too, they joined back up with Adalabroth. And as a result, they say, hey, we're going to try to kill everything down there that we see light. So she put the shadow or the veil over in the man and the woman to hide the light. And when she hid the light, after she hid the light, what happened was he couldn't see the light and he was killing the physical body, but basically they went on and started becoming gods. So they built Atlantis and Lemuria. And for millions of years, because the earth is older than what you think it is, they were ruling as gods down here for millions of years, because they were they was physical, but they was on a Satan as Osiris, which is actually you. You see. Now let me get into this. Let me get into this particular part. Look at this. He pulled one punch around the same time that they was transforming these scriptures. He says that he created this false Messiah. You see, he could not fake the people, because the Messiah that supposed to came was supposed to be a black Jew at that particular time, because all the black Jewish community was looking for the Messiah. And the Jews was nothing but the northern Ethiopians that was in Palestine and all over in Ethiopia and all over the Mediterranean, in Egypt, as well as the Egyptians that was looking for the Messiah, as well as all the black people around the world, the Sumerians, the people from Persia, all those was black people now. You see what I'm saying? And they were looking, the Arabians, they were looking for the Mahdi, everybody looking for the Messiah. So now, but they were looking for a Messiah that was going to come in the end times, which is now, because they were masters of prophecy, so they knew it wasn't coming no 2,000 years ago. You see what I'm saying? So, in order to get the people's mind off of looking for a later one or preparing for now, Adalabath had to break it. He had first broke it by, well, he didn't break it yet, but this is what he did. First of all, in order to break it, he did one thing. Now look at this. And it's interesting here, because this has been suppressed up until now. This is in Isis Unveiled, Book 2, page 471, or you can get this book, H.P. Blavatsky on the Gnostics. Madame Blavatsky first claimed that the Gnostics was the precursors of occult movement, and it says, in the program to divide scriptures, learning that the esoteric truths of religion, the Gnostics were as obviously in opposition to so-called Christianity. And it says, now, and what it means is this here, that they were the precursors to all that, which means that they were a precursor, means it was the real shit, and these people killed them off and took a fake thing. You with me? Now, this is what they did. The false Messiah shall say, I am Deus, son of Deus, my father sent me here. Now, this is what Blavatsky says. Hence, the belief of some Gnostics. See, this is why they had to kill the Gnostic people off. The Gnostics knew what happened. The Gnostics said that Hibel Awaza, the archangel Gabriel, who was sent to overshadow Mary, was not the archangel Gabriel, but Adalabath, who came in the form of a material body of Jesus, the Christos himself, which is at the modern moment of the baptism of Jordan. What she's saying here is this. She's saying that they had a physical person that walked the earth to make the scriptures historical, telling people that he was the Messiah, and that was none other than Adalabath came down here and came in and materialized a physical body and walked the earth as a physical man, saying he was the Jesus. And meanwhile, the Romans historicalized all the stuff, and they threw off all of the stuff of a Jesus now. Because any fool knows that you read any ancient scripts, what is the doggone purpose for a doggone Christ to come that's supposed to redeem the people since the beginning of Atlantis, that was supposed to come to earth and then get killed? That don't make no damn sense. And lead the people down here to suffer for another 2,000 years. You see what I'm saying? So obviously, that person couldn't have walked the earth that was saying that he was the Christ or whatever kind of thing. It was Adalabath. You see. Now, they said that, but Adalabath was the false Messiah and the destroyer of all ancient religions or all ancient mystery schools. So what you got here is, they came in and they wrote a book for this particular person out of the same scriptures. That's why you can go and get the same scriptures. The Greeks talked about a God, Jesus, that was supposed to come in the ancient time, which is in all of us. The Egyptians talked to God, Heru, which is a modified word, which is an earlier word of Jesus. And all around the world, it was talking about one that was supposed to come then. But what this Adalabrock did, he came in and made a physical person to come in and get these people all stirred up in the Holy Land, and then after he so-called died, because he had to die, then they came in because they had to make a martyr, just like the Tupac thing. Anytime you die, they make a martyr. Then he came, then the stage was set for them to come in and take ancient scriptures of the sayings of Jesus, because, see, we would know that this wouldn't be fake, but see, the thing about it is the first 4 books that they talk about that's the sayings of Jesus, the problem is we know it's a lie now, because in 1945, they dug up the original scriptures in 1945. It's just that the damn governments around the world made sure that most people didn't know, and they didn't even translate the first books until 1977. They translated part of it. They translated a great deal of it in in the late 1950s, and the guy Hans Jonas' book came out, The Gnostic Religion. The other ones, as far as the complete scriptures, wasn't translated until 1977. So we have no way of knowing that this particular God is fake. You see what I'm saying? Now, let me go into some things here and try to understand some stuff. So Rome basically took all these ancient texts and historicalized them and made them history. They got it because they was copying a part of the Jews that went bad, taking Egyptian texts and making them historical. You see what I'm saying? Making them historical. A lot of that stuff in the Bible and even in the Torah did not happen. It was metaphysical, and a lot of it, if it was supposed to happen on the earth, it's supposed to happen now. You see what I'm saying? Y'all getting me here? This is very important stuff here, because you got to understand some stuff, because I'm explaining something to you. Let me explain something to you about Adalabrock. Yeah, you can cut the light on. Let me explain something to you about Adalabrock. Y'all all right? Because you got to get this. Because what he did was, let me get a glossary here. So now what they do now, they put out the books now, but they parallel it with them. They parallel them with Christian things and saying that they went hand in hand, and one was an extension of the other. That's a lie. That's a lie. Let me explain. Adalabrock is the origins of the name is uncertain. One of the most common names of Gnostic mythology. Adalabrock is a god who rules the material world. Who rules the material world. So, Adalabrock not only was ruling the material world, but how he kept throwing us off. He said, well, listen, in order for me to get these particular gods to keep from going within, I have to create passions. So he created what you call beauty. And in beauty, all the creation of jewelry, all the creation of things, material things that keep you from going. You see, before then, we used to understand that we were gods, and we were just like any other thing on the earth. We could sustain ourselves and go to the highest level of spirituality because we understood that we were gods, or the knowledge of self. So what he did to throw us off, they created all kinds of material things. And so that's why you didn't see as much material things in the ancient world. They didn't need those things because they were on a higher vibration. Now what he did was, after the Adalabrock's last thing was, is when he got the Romans and start killing people, Adalabrock knew hell. He said, I got these white people who would control the earth now, because the black people used to control the earth, but they were spiritual beings. But the white people who can control the earth now, I can directly send my evil archons. So each one of these 7 planetary archons, they created other spirits, counterfeit spirits. And those are the ones that's inside of this particular beast. So as a result of them being in this particular beast, they can control the world. And basically, what does he do? The white man controls the world by making the material beautiful. He's 100% materialistic. So as a result, for the last 1,000 years, well, we can't say 1,000 years because Greece and Rome was built by black people and it was all spiritual purposes. But let's say from down Europe on up, so we'll basically say that his height of his beauty, we could say the last 700-800 years. And this is the magnitude of it, America, which is the home of commercialism. The white man's goal is to create beautiful and create a system that would make the earth look like heaven to trap you in it. That's why now we can't think of but one thing, getting more riches. You see what I'm saying? Now, I don't cut this off right. Getting more riches. So I don't tell you to not make no money. I just tell you to make money to pay rent, pay lights, pay water, and keep some gas or whatever for transportation so you can get to the job, to pay rent, to pay light or water. But any other shit, you see what I'm saying? You see? So when I beg for money to pay my rent and stuff, you see what I'm saying? Which I don't think I'm going to make it. But anyway, what I'm saying is, we talk about the bare necessities. So he created beauty and passions to control people. You understand what I'm saying? But he's arrogant. He's so arrogant and so now, when he created the white man, in actuality, the white man, you say, well, how does this God function? You just look at the white man and see how the white man functions, and you can understand how this God functions. He's a jealous God. He's a vengeful and a wrath and brimstone, a killer God. You understand what I'm saying? And everything that functions, that holds this society. So when the white man writes on his dollar bill, "In God we trust," he's talking about his God. He actually has a real God. Now, this is this. Now, we got to stop for a minute because I want you to think about what I'm saying here. This God came in and this God created. He took all around the world, he took what is called the esoteric scriptures that's saying that you are gods and you belong to the host of heavens or the host of stars of heaven, and we are all one. And which scriptures, and he took the same scripture. Now what he would do is he would take the same scriptures and he would take the same scriptures and he would take the esoteric scriptures and make them exoteric where you worship him. In the Gnostic scriptures, the real scriptures, they say that this God made a covenant with Abraham, this God Yahweh. And he made a covenant with Abraham and promised this little group or whatever that he would save them, and everybody else would go to hell or whatever type thing, if they can somehow make the scriptures as if they got to abide by laws, obey laws and all this particular stuff. You understand what I'm saying? To hold us down and hold us down in humanity. So now what I'm trying to say is this too. Then in 1945, they dropped the bomb on Hiroshima and all that. They went into Egypt and they dug up the original scripts. That means you got the scripts of the first 4 gospels that the Romans and all the Christians are saying that was taught, when Jesus walked the earth 2,000 years ago. You see what I'm saying? When Jesus walked the earth 2,000 years ago. And in 1945, they dug up some scriptures in Egypt that talks about the same damn sayings, and it shows that one saying that was supposed to be a person of 2,000 years ago came from an older saying, or the Gnostic scripts that came out of the Hermetic scripts that came out of Egypt. You understand what I'm saying? And the other one was all fake, and they suppressed the damn thing up until 1977. Now, in this book, The Secret Books of the Egyptian Gnostics by Jean Duress, is a real good one. It was 14. It might be 15 now. And it deals with this, and it goes into a dollar broth on page 27 up in here. And not only that, he got 7 archangels that created, and he's got a whole host of angels now. So now, with black people recently, you started having these walk-ins. Now, this is the most interesting thing, because I went to Philadelphia 2 weeks ago, about a month ago, and everywhere I go, if the brother's in the consciousness, they walk into the sister, and she starts going crazy. And if the sister's in consciousness, they walk into the brother, and he start going crazy. They always start opposing which one, if you and your mate didn't meet and is into this thing at the same time. It's very rare that you get two people that's in a household that's in the same thing, although you do have a lot of them. But mainly what you will have is, recently, since 1990 on up, because this knowledge has started coming, you started having these walk-ins. And it's funny, when I went there, the people were so concerned because they was going crazy. And a lot of the things is this. This Adala Broth, who is a jealous God, sits over religiosity. And he is the person that sits over these churches. So now when you go in and start dancing and singing and doing all this kind of stuff here, you open up that, and his evil demiurge is the one that's possessing them, because God damn it, if you ever see some holy sanctified people or anybody in the church, you're talking about irrationale. You understand what I'm saying? And I know this is for a fact. Now, I love it and all this, but see, the reason why I know this, I'm doing a case study. I got an aunt, ultimate intellectual, would bear witness to all of this and everything a few years ago. A few years ago, when I came home, I remember when Farrakhan first started back. Remember when he first started up in there? I came home pumping that stuff. They was into it. Oh, man, look at this. And I told them, this was before the